Welcome back to the TriFecta Airsoft podcast. I'm your host, E-Rock. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you never miss another podcast. Also, do me a favor. Go on to whatever podcast app you listen to us on and give us a rating and review. That really helps us rank in the searches. Thank you so much. Let's get into the podcast. There we go.
Hey.
I can hear you.
Hang on a minute. Turn on camera. That's the button I need to do. Cool.
There it is.
Right,
What's up, man?
I'm going to turn some volume up so I can hear you better.
Yeah.
Right, how's that sounding?
Audio's great, dude.
Cool. I'm going to take one earphone out because it sounds weird.
Does it?
I'm using these things. They're a shooting ear pro, but they've got Bluetooth.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So like it's an active ear protection thing, but it works like a Bluetooth headset. So I thought I'd give it a test.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, the audio sounds good.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, that's the big thing with the audio. It's most of the time it's as long as somebody has some kind of headset on, you know, where the sound's not doing like speakerphone or something, then it usually works pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, normally I'd be using like this goofy thing and this big chungus mic, but
is that what you use on your podcast?
Yeah, that's what I use. I was gonna play around today with a lav mic.
Yeah.
I've got about a 10-foot cable on it, the longest lav mic in history.
No shit.
But then I remembered this as when I plugged this. I say plugged this in. It's Bluetooth, isn't it? When I connected this, it was like it automatically changed the voice input as well.
Oh, nice.
So I figured I'd just roll with that and see how it goes.
Right. Yeah, that's always nice when it's a quick and easy, like user friendly or whatever setup.
Yeah,
plug and play.
Pressing the volume button on the side. If there's any annoying beeps coming through,
no, there's no noise coming through. So,
it's I've just worked out the volume on the actual thing itself was turned down to like minimum.
Oh, okay.
So I turned it up on the system. Now I'm being deafened, which is great.
Because I always check my my settings through the Discord call itself to make sure the volume is all, you know, most of the way up or whatever, so that you guys hear me.
Yeah, no, I can hear you fine now. It's just my headphone was all the way down. Sensible, you know.
Yeah, I did that the other day. I was talking with somebody and I was like, damn, I can barely hear them. And I'm sitting here. I have a little this headset. It's you know, plug in whatever, and it's got the
thing
button. Yeah, and then a volume dial on it, so I can turn my PC volume up and down on it while I'm talking with somebody. So if I can't hear them too well or whatever, but so it works out good.
Yeah, I had an issue with that recently editing. Well, I say recently, a little while ago, editing a YouTube video. I had my volume. Normally, I have my volume on my headphones about middle.
Yeah.
Which is probably about average for if someone's listening to it on speakers. And I had the volume on full whack in both ears, and I didn't realize. So I was like, this video is so loud. I was dropping the levels in the video. Obviously, every time I listened to it and watched it through, I watched it through on those headphones at them settings, uploaded it to YouTube. Then everybody's like, "Do you watch your video so quiet? You're like whispering the whole thing." You know, you live and learn.
That's funny. When that's funny you say that, because I just remembered when we first started a YouTube channel. When I would go back through and edit, I wouldn't wear headphones. You know, while I'm editing them, I would just use my PC speakers. So, and it was, you know, we were in different environments. We're inside, and then we, you know, some videos were outside reviewing a gun or shooting and stuff. So the volume was all over the place, and I realized it was because I didn't have my PC volume, my speaker volume, set consistently every time I would edit, because I might be, you know, if I was gaming or if I was doing something else, I might turn it up or turn it down. So I was adjusting the volumes based, you know, in the video based on what I was hearing. But I was like, oh shit, I gotta make sure every time I edit, my PC speakers are a consistent, whatever, set on 20 every time I'm doing it. So at
Yeah,
least I can
definitely.
level the sounds. Oh yeah. When I watch some of our first videos, man, I'm like, they're so, I was trying all kind of different shit, just editing and stuff, but it's fun.
Yeah, man. I love going back to years and years ago. Me and a group that I roll with started a channel, separate channel from my channel, and we were doing this project called Will It Launch, which is get a 40 mil, like a 203, put a shell in there with no BBs, and then we just find whatever you can stick down the tube, and then draw names out of a hat, and whoever's drawn out of the hat stands at the other end, and then we pop one off for them. And the videos were loads of fun, but it's just like standing. We film them all on phones, and the audio sounds terrible, and there's just in a bedroom with a lot of crap just everywhere. It's not anything like amazing. Fun to watch, but every time I look back, I'm like, shit, dude, the production quality on that's not great,
Right.
is it? Yeah,
I know. The one of the guys I was talking with a few days ago, or no, actually the one that just came out, the podcast came out yesterday. PSDC, uh, Dan, he was saying, like, I put all this time into all these videos, editing and like the right,
I think I know
setup
where
and all
this is
this shit,
going.
and then they'll get whatever kind of views, and then the one I did, I was just, he said I was tired, I just didn't care, I just wanted to hurry up and do this video. He did a review on a helmet for airsoft, whatever, like in his bedroom,
With your
shitty
helmet,
quality, and he said
your
that,
helmet
that
on.
that got the most views on his channel. There you go.
Yeah, man. Probably gonna mess up my earphones in it. We'll take that off.
Oh, it looks good though. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I've had
man.
people on here that wear their whole gear set, uh, face mask and everything on the video.
Yeah, I could throw a plate carrier on and a matching
There you
helmet.
go.
So
Right?
just under here.
Hell yeah,
Yeah,
man.
like
Well,
I can totally relate to what you were just saying. Then I've spent there's been videos where I was doing a review and like professionally, I'm a photographer.
oh, okay.
Well, I'm in between studios right now. My lease went on my previous studio, and I've moved into a new building, and it's basically just an empty shell at the minute. So all my stuff's
Mm,
just kind of piled in the middle.
yeah.
So it's not really usable just now. But in the past, where I've done a review and I've set the gun up and I'm shooting the B-roll stuff, or I do the actual piece to camera, and then I come to edit it, and I'm like, it's just not quite there. It's not where I want to be. And then I go back and reshoot it, and go back and reshoot this. So I spend like a week just trying to get the actual raw content for it.
Yeah.
Edit it, which is another whole day just cutting stuff together, moving it around,
Right.
checking it's fine, all that stuff. Upload it. Maybe it doesn't hit. It's got hardly any views. And then there's a video of one of my teammates who's led on my bed, and we handcuffed him to his legs like that, and his arms were like that,
Oh shit.
and it went viral. And I had handcuffs and the tags, I guess, and it must be an interesting search term. So yeah, loads of people viewed that 30-second video that
Yeah.
filmed on a phone in like 2007. Ridiculous. It's like it's all. I guess I can't remember who was saying it a while back, but it's about the story or the content,
Hmm.
not
Right.
necessarily the quality.
Yep.
But I've got this like OCD about trying to make it as best quality as I can, which comes
Right.
from working as a commercial photographer. Because if I just throw something together and give it to a client, they'll never hire me again. But
Yeah.
my phone is going mentally. My wife's taking the kids to a park, to a
Oh, okay.
playground, and I'm just getting picture message after picture message. I'm gonna put it on the mouse mat so it's playing.
Yeah, I had there's been a couple times I always put my phone on silent because I used to put it on vibrate when I would get on the podcast, and then if I get messages, whatever, it's sitting here like,
Yeah,
and I keep looking at it because I see it going off, and then when I go back
yeah,
and I
I like
go
it.
to post these, I'm like, oh shit, you can actually hear it buzzing uh, in my video, So I was like, well, I'll just turn it on silent and turn the screen up, face down and whatever, so I don't
Yeah,
see
that's
it.
good idea. It's going mad. She must be. They must be having a. She's sending me Snapchats, so I'm
Oh,
assuming she's
nice.
done a long couple of videos and just sent them.
Yeah.
and they're coming through as like individual 10-second clips. So it's just
Oh,
vibrate,
gotcha.
vibrate, vibrate, vibrate. But yeah, I used to have a similar thing when we'd record down at my old studio because it was a shop front building on a
Okay.
main road. So when we'd go down there to shoot airsoft content and record the podcast, you'd have boy racers just driving their like shitty courses up and down the street with massive like baked beans tin exhausts on there.
Yeah.
So and you could feel the shop front windows like rumbling. So if you
Oh
listen to some
shit.
like our earlier podcasts, you can hear this just like all the time. It drove me like police sirens right outside because that studio was right in the center of town, which was great for people. I mean, it wasn't necessarily a social studio. The idea was it was a commercial studio, but
Yeah.
ideal for people seeing the place, but
Right.
not ideal if you need to record any audio
Uh,
whatsoever, which we did on occasion. But
yeah, right.
yeah,
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, the audio thing is one of the I think that's been my biggest challenge on these podcasts is because the when someone has like earbuds or headsets or whatever that have the noise cancellation thing, I'm like, I don't know if you can turn that off. Like, I'm not sure because if there's any kind of background noise, or if somebody, you know, like we're talking and they laugh, and then right after they, like a loud noise or something, then they go into talking again. I don't hear the first half of their sentence because the thing is, had cut out.
yeah, yeah.
It's kind
It's
of
kind of like comms when you're playing airsoft. No matter how many times I tell the rest of my guys, if you're going to use your radio, hit that button, wait a second, then transmit.
right,
Because otherwise, I don't hear what the fuck you're saying because it's just that first second. They always miss it.
right.
Yeah, dude. I've just looked at my phone now, and I'll see if I can show you this without any. All these bloody.
Holy shit!
It's
Oh, that's
ridiculous.
funny, dude. Yeah, my
Yeah,
wife. So it's morning time. You're in the UK. I'm in South Carolina in America, and which is East Coast. It's 9:15 here. It's probably what 2:15 there in the afternoon.
yeah, dude. 2:15.
Yeah, and so your wife's taking the kids to the park. My wife is going to get here in a little bit going to get our grandchild. She's our granddaughter's 4. So
Same
usually
age
on.
as same age as my oldest.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, they're a handful, man.
Definitely. It's good fun.
Oh yeah.
Most of the time. Do it.
Right.
Yeah, dude. I don't. I try not to talk too much about the kids like on podcasts and that. 'Cause my wife absolutely militantly hates airsoft. So any
Oh
association with the
shit.
kids, like, oh yeah, dude, it's a nightmare. But yeah, this morning we were supposed to do like 12 jobs I needed to do before we could get to this,
Yeah.
and my youngest was just going ape shit, and he's 2, and he
Mm,
was having a shocker this morning. Wouldn't eat breakfast, wouldn't get dressed, and
yeah.
so all of this morning, like none of what we needed to do. Well, we did one thing, which was go into town to some shops, grab some stuff, and come back.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it was a nightmare. But one funny thing out of it was we got into town. We checked in before. Going to go into babies, well, not babies, toddlers doing a crap talk here. So we got to town, and I got him out of his car seat, and I'm like, dude, have you shit yourself? And because we just checked in 2 minutes ago before going in the car, and he had. So I just pulled everything out the boot of the car, the trunk for Americans,
Yeah.
threw him in there, and just did this ad hoc sort of baby change session in the in a car park. It's ridiculous, but you got to do what you got to do when you got kids, don't you? And
Hey man, that is yeah, when
yeah,
you're
man.
talking about like you had all these things planned and then nope, that's
Nope, not at all.
it is so classic, man. My wife and I have 5 kids and we had them in 7 years, so they're all, they were all little together and
Yeah,
and so we definitely know the struggle when it comes to that. Like you have this plan in your head. I think that's probably the hardest thing to get used to when you have your first is you're used to being on your own schedule. Like you have this plan in your head. Yeah, I'm going to do this, especially on the weekends. If you're off work, you go, okay, we're going to go do this. Yeah, that baby or that toddler, especially toddlers, man, bro,
Yeah.
good luck with trying to force them to do a bunch of shit because it is,
Not a chance, is there?
oh, you got to find that balance for sure. But yeah, they're starting to come into their own. Like they got their little attitude at 2 years old, and they're going,
Yep.
I don't want this. Why are you trying to force me to sit down and eat right now? And they just throw shit.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah,
I miss being able to like, oh, I've got to go to the shop. Cool. Let's just jump in the car and go.
right.
It's 5 minutes away. Cool. You're in the car in 30 seconds. You're at the shop in 5 minutes. You get out. You get your crap. You get back in. You're back home in half an hour.
Yeah.
With kids, it's like that half an hour is just chasing them around, getting shoes on, getting them in the car, catching the other one who's run back in the house. You're like,
Yeah.
dude, seriously.
Yes. That is so
Yeah.
true. Yeah, man. Well, the podcast I did last night, the guy I was talking to, he's his daughter just turned 2, and he was trying to have her, lay down because it was like 9 o'clock at night, and for both of us, well, she wasn't having it, so he kept looking back like this, and I said, "Man, these are recorded. If you need to go take care of something, go ahead. I can cut it out or whatever." He's like, "Yeah, my daughter just keeps calling, for me." So he actually went and got her and just had her sit on his lap while we finished, talking.
Yeah.
So it worked out fine. But I don't mind. I'm pretty flexible with these. These aren't
Yeah.
the production quality on these are shit, bro. Like I don't try to fix it. I don't.
But like the difference between like your podcast and my podcast is you've got like maybe what, 120 something episodes or something now,
Yeah.
but you're just doing it. You're just getting somebody on, recording it, and getting it up there.
Yeah.
Well, like me, I'm like, I can't do it. I've got to get into every tiny little bit of the. There's some of our podcasts that were recorded. We call them on the road episodes,
Oh, okay.
where we go to a game, and then the team sits. I've got a bunch of audio stuff. Like we use Zoom. It's a
Oh yeah, I have the
H1.
same exact one. Yeah, I have the same
Yeah,
one.
I've got a H1, a H6, and I just bought this guy recently, an F1.
Oh, nice.
So it's like I won't get it out. It's all sealed still. But that is literally just a one-person lav mic thing that you just put
Oh,
on your belt, and
nice.
it's a lot more solid than the H1.
Okay.
But yet, usually in the car we'd use the H1 with this adapter, so you can put like 4 or 5.
What?
So basically, it's
How
3.5
does that
mil
work?
jack.
Yeah.
It's just a jack splitter, so you can plug a lav mic into each of these.
Uh-huh.
The downside is you get the same levels on every mic, so if somebody's loud and somebody's quiet, you can't correct that because there's only one input on the H1.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so we basically just turn the H1 on, plug that in, whoever's in the car gets a lav mic, and we just record the whole thing on the way home. So those episodes are generally the most fun and some of the best content because we've just finished a game and you're doing like an after action
Oh,
report, like, dude, do you remember when
yes.
that guy came around that corner and you were like right in his face? And I'm like, dude, that was great. The only downside that I hate about those, and I try not to record them because of this, is you get the car noise the whole way through it.
Right.
So people, like I've talked to people and said, oh, we love the on the road episodes.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I've been in like Audition, like Adobe Audition, trying to bring that car noise down, but then you kind of damage the vocals as well, and
Yep.
they degrade slightly, and it's never exactly how I want it. So I reckon I'm gonna have to get a Tesla or some shit so it's quiet.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, man. Nah, I
Isn't
couldn't
that
drive one.
isn't that funny? It's like the overthinking of, producing stuff when you start
Yeah,
editing your own videos, you see all these little things that are kind of like, okay, I want to make it better. And now you go from, getting all this audio setup and audio gear to make everything right to oh no, I just need a Tesla because it'll be quiet for quiet for the it's hilarious, man. Those yeah, so I saw your on I think it's on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or whatever.
yeah,
Your
it's up there somewhere. Yeah,
yeah. And then but I saw your YouTube channel, man. It is you've had some videos for a long time. Like you've been on YouTube
yeah, it
for a
is.
long time. Really,
since
really
like
cool.
basically day one of YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I was talking. I found sidetrack just slightly here, but it's going to come right back to the point. It's going to make
Yeah.
sense. I found you guys because of Kicking Mustang, because he posted. We obviously had him on recently, and he
Yeah.
posted about it, and I'm like, "Oh, I'll do another Airsoft podcast. I'll definitely check that out." So I went and just hit the sub button, and didn't listen to it until I got into work into the. So I'm working for another studio at the minute, or
Yeah.
another company running their studio. So shooting a lot of commercial stuff. So it's just me on my own in the studio, tight deadline. So just hours and hours of podcasts to keep me sane.
Mm.
So I listened to like maybe 10, 12 of your shows
Oh
over the
shit.
past week or so.
Oh. Oh.
And
Okay.
so with other
Sorry.
stuff mixed in between, that's all right. It's all good. Some good content in there. Um, but yeah, so Stang put up a post today on Instagram talking about a YouTuber called Cafe Racing, saying, I don't know if you can hear, I just realised my chair is the creakiest chair in the world.
That's all
It
right.
stays still.
I've
So
only
he
heard
was
it like once. Yeah.
cool. So he put this post up about Cafe Racing, talking about how he was pioneering scope cam content in 2010. And I'm like, oh, dude, I've got to talk to him about this. So I sent him a message going, dude, one of my biggest regrets about my YouTube career, quote unquote career, so far is back in 2006 to 2007, we used to record content using this thing called an Arcos 504. Basically, it was about this big, about the size of a brick, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe about an inch thick.
Yeah.
Big, really crap quality screen on it. Big chunky buttons, proper early 2000s technology.
Yeah.
Primarily, it's a media center, so you can just watch videos, look at your photos, whatever.
Yeah.
Before phones,
Right.
But well, before smartphones, anyway.
Right. Exactly.
This device had an adapter you could plug in, and you could plug this wired camera into it that recorded at 480p.
Huh.
So we used to record airsoft gameplay footage in like 2006.
Oh shit.
And one day we were watching the footage back, and I was saying, you can't see the shots hitting. We need to work on it. Because I used to use a Maruzen APS-2 SV, which is absolute anti. I still got it in the loft. It's an absolute antique sniper rifle now.
No shit.
I picked it up when I was 18, 38 now. So it served me well. But yeah, so I was complaining because I made a sniper video, and everybody was saying, it's really cool that you've done a sniper video, but we can't see what you're shooting at. So, and
Yeah.
obviously there's a minimum engagement distance as well. So it weren't
Right.
like if I'm using an AG and you're pretty close and just nailing somebody in the face, neck, and chest. But so I was looking into different ways that I could make basically a scope cam. My original idea was just to gaff tape my DV camera onto the thing, which is obviously what Novrich, Bodjups, the early sort of pioneers
Oh,
of
okay.
scope cam content did. But I was editing stuff in Windows Movie Maker, and there was no way to put a crosshair overlay on it. So obviously
Right.
I wanted the crosshair. So what I did was I got a whatever size scope it was, ring that goes around the scope that has a 20mm rail on it. So I put two of them on the actual scope of the rifle, put extra scope rings on that, put a tiny little scope like side by side to my scope. So I had a 3-9x40 as my main optic, and there was a 4x30 mounted next to it. It was only about this big, tiny little thing.
Yeah.
Then using gaffer tape, a bog roll tube, and this Arcos camera, I like co-witnessed the camera with the optic. So the camera was looking down the second scope, and it was zeroed to the same as my actual scope. So when you shot, you could see the shots.
Oh my
Now,
God.
the big downside is it's a wired camera. So I had to find a pouch that fit the Arcos, tape that to the stock of my rifle, wrap the wire around in a place where it wouldn't interfere with the bolt cycle.
Holy
And then
shit.
it was a really wide lens as well, looking down a scope at 480p. It looked terrible, but you could see the shots. And I recorded one entire game just with that perspective.
Yeah.
But the footage was crap. And I was like, this isn't a salvageable project. I don't think we should continue with this. Let's just go with getting a better head camera, which is what I did. I went, bought a newer head camera, which still wasn't great by today's
Right.
standards. But yeah, and one of my biggest regrets is not putting more time and energy into that project,
Right.
because that would have been, without a doubt, the first scope cam footage on YouTube,
Right.
and that could have been a way that my channel exploded
Uh-huh.
back then. But,
Yeah, no
you
shit,
live and
right?
learn.
That is crazy how you figured all this out to put all this contraption on your setup to try to get those, zoomed in shots to see the BB. Um, yeah,
I've still
especially with the
got the,
technology, the resolution was
oh,
shit,
dude,
back
yeah,
then.
it was horrendous. But not too long ago, I was looking through. I used to shoot some stuff for a bar that I ran. Well, before I ran it, I just used to do the photography for them. And they wanted a bunch of their old images to use because they've moved to a new place, and they wanted some, pardon me, burping. So all that stuff was backed up onto DVDs.
Yeah.
So I've got stacks and stacks and stacks of DVDs from 2002 to like 2006
Oh shit.
of photography, video, and stuff. And I was going
Yeah.
through it, and I found in a folder a video called Arcos, and I'm like, oh my god, Arcos footage. Opened it up, and it was the original test footage of the scope. So it's before I used the bog roll tube. The toilet roll tube was basically, because it was gaff taped on, cable tied onto the rifle, and all sorts of
Mm-hmm.
weird shit next to the thing. And it was looking at the scope, so you could see actually the other scope and everything around it. A lot of light was coming in, and it was really distracting. So the toilet roll tube went around the lens of the scope and onto the camera. So it was basically just looking down the scope and nothing else was coming in. But it was even prior to that, and it's just looking out of my window just at cars and things. And
Oh my
yeah,
God. Do you have that on your
it's
YouTube channel?
not on YouTube. It's on a DVD in the loft somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, that's
But
cool that you still have it though.
yeah, again, being a photographer, I've been a professional photographer since like 2009,
Yeah.
and I am super anal about archiving and backing up everything. I've got
Smart.
all of the gameplay content that I recorded since 2006 on hard drives.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I talked to a lot of YouTubers, and they basically dump the footage on the computer, edit it, and then throw away what they don't need, and just keep the edits and not the raw
Okay.
content.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, dude, what if you wanted to make a re-edit of that in
Right.
like 5 years when there's a new trend
Yeah.
or something? You've got to go back to that footage. Or what if you just, like, I'm at the minute looking at my old content thinking, that was edited really badly. No wonder it's only got 300 views. It's such a badly edited video. If I look at how I've learned to edit now and readdress that content, I can just pull all the raw files, throw it into Premiere,
Yep.
and cut together something better. But if I didn't have that raw footage,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen, is it?
I save everything. I have everything since we started. I have on, so I have an 8 terabyte external hard drive, and then that I got when we started doing it. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Carry on.
Oh, well then, when this, so I only have 2 terabytes left on my hard drive. So when this started happening, actually I got down to like 1 terabyte left last year, and so I started uploading all of the raw footage stuff to Google Drive, and I paid for extra space on Google Drive because I wanted to keep all the raw footage.
Yeah.
Now the edited videos that actually get uploaded to YouTube, I actually still save those too, because I'm like,
yeah, definitely.
If something happens to the YouTube channel, if they decide to just cut it
But
off
like
or whatever.
There's that really crazy hack that's going on at the minute with big YouTube channels. Like, I don't know if you follow Corridor Digital. They're like movie production sort of thing. They make short films.
Oh, okay.
Their main channel, which has got millions and millions of subs, got hacked recently. They made a little video all about how it got hacked and how they recovered it. But basically,
what's the name of it?
Corridor Digital.
Corridor Digital. Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, yeah. I'll
They're
have to check them
absolutely
out.
amazing. They've done a lot of airsoft content in the past as well.
No shit. Okay.
Over on the other, I think they put that over on the Node channel. But anyway, if you jump on the Corridor channel, you'll see all the past content. But basically, somebody broke into the channel through an email that they got access to that had admin rights to the channel, and then privated all the videos, and then
Oh
put a live
shit.
stream up. And there was just this guy live streaming on the channel about buying and selling stocks and crypto and shit like that.
Oh my God.
And yeah, I don't know what apparently the guy who was in the video wasn't responsible for the hack. So I don't know what they were getting from it. Maybe the guy in the video was paying them to put that content out to some big audience and by
Yeah.
ripping. Yeah, but yeah,
Holy
so
shit.
there was a moment where they were like, they've done thousands of videos, and what if all that content is just gone?
Yeah.
But they've talked in the past about their crazy archiving and backup and stuff, and
Okay.
obviously they'll upload it again, but it's just a massive pain in the ass, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so
Well, you know
yeah,
what I started doing too was, as far as the YouTube videos, I would go in religiously, like once a month or whatever, and I wanted to save those videos, but my original that I upload to YouTube is,
yeah,
the file size is way bigger than if I go in, once it's uploaded and posted on YouTube,
download it.
I
Yeah,
can
so the
download it.
compression. Yeah,
Dude, their compression thing, whatever it is, however it's set up, is fucking awesome because it
I mean
doesn't look
it is
like it
nowadays.
degrades the video. I don't when I watch it on my screen. Of course, I don't watch it on TV, a giant TV or nothing. But
Yeah,
and most people watch these on our phone, but so the screen's a lot smaller. But I don't really notice too much of a difference. So I'm like, I'll just download these and save them that way because it's like half the space.
yeah, it is
So what
definitely.
do you
I mean,
got? So you got ammo cans, you got
yeah,
fucking
this
hard
this is
drives.
this is where I store my hard drives next to my computer. So we've got like one, two, three, four, I think these are all 2 terabyte drives here,
Oh my
four there.
God. Yeah.
And then this ammo pan is the important ones because it's kind of. So I've got just a drive that came out my other PC. I've got a dock on the desk where I've got 3 or 4 of these, so you can just
Yeah.
throw into that dock. And then we've got like raw gameplay 2006 onwards and some uncut stuff from 2016. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hard drives in there, all between 2 to 4 terabyte, and then this 4 terabyte as well.
Oh my
But
God.
a lot of that is photography based as well. So there's stuff that I've shot for clients and that in there, and
Okay.
yeah, so that's
Dude, that's
just
wild.
it's accumulates, so doesn't it?
It really is. I've been thinking, actually, just recently, I was thinking, okay, well, what if maybe I need to get store these on hard disk, like hard copies, where the stuff I'm uploading to, because right now, I mean, yes, it's on my external hard drive, but what if that breaks, because I
Yeah,
mean, shit wears out, whatever. It doesn't take much, once they get older, zap that thing, and when it's plugged in all the time, and then I'm like, well, what if YouTube channel gets either hacked or something happens, all those videos are gone, and then I'm like, well, what if my Google Drive, and then I have through Microsoft, I have the OneDrive that I
OneDrive. Yeah,
have, 2 or 3 terabytes on there. I upload shit. I'm like copying everywhere. So I was getting a little crazy with it. If for a while, I was like, okay, I got to put all these, and then I have little thumb drives. I'm like, maybe I'll just because I didn't want to spend another, couple $100 on another external hard drive
yeah. So
to
little
save
pen drives
everything.
and that are great, aren't they? Like
Yeah, they're great.
you can get like 16 gigabyte pen drives or whatever. Well, even bigger than that now. Can't even miles bigger than that.
Oh, I
And
know, it's crazy.
just you can just back up an entire day's gameplay stuff onto a pen drive, and it's just tiny. It's out of the way.
Yeah, yep.
Brilliant. I remember I was talking about this not too long ago when I first started in the industry. Pen drives were like 256 megabytes,
Hmm.
and I'm like, I ain't paying 20 quid for that. And now you can go on Amazon, like 8 quid, you've got a 32 gig pen drive.
It's crazy, dude.
It's
Hey, do you
ridiculous.
do you remember when I got in the military? This is back. I got out in '93, and then I started PC gaming in '95. Okay, so this is like the original Counter Strike, the original Unreal Tournament, the original Quake, shit like that. And So me and my buddies would uh, build our own computers.
Yeah,
So
dude.
there wasn't a whole lot of, there wasn't places that built gaming computers in 95, like you had to kind of piece together, uh, like the way it is now, you can have access to you know, a really badass computer, or you can have one special built. But anyway, I remember when storage has always been the issue, space. So it was, we were so excited when this new technology came out called a zip drive. A zip
Oh,
drive
dude,
was,
this.
do you remember that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
Uh, 100 megabytes,
yeah,
a
man.
hundred
I remember
megabyte, and
that.
we were ecstatic, bro. We were like flipping out, like, whoa, we all got to get this thing. And you had to get the external hard drive or the external drive
Yeah,
for
like
it
a
to
drive
plug
for
in
it, and yeah,
and plug that. It looked like a thicker
yeah, it's like a thicker floppy
floppy.
disk, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And we were like, man, this is the shit, bro. 100 megabytes.
Future, man. Yeah, yeah. I
Oh
remember.
my God.
I never bought into that at 93, 94, whatever. I was like 10. So yeah, no, yeah, I do remember that. So back just sidetracking again. You said Unreal Tournament. I recently reinstalled Unreal Tournament, the OG Game of the Year edition version,
Oh shit.
just so I could play a mod that I used to play in like 2002
Okay.
called Infiltration, or Inf 289. Infiltration is the first. It's like the original aim down your sights tactical shooter,
Oh,
and it is so bad. Like by today's standards, the graphics
right.
are absolutely horrendous. It's so clunky. If one of the bots is in a doorway and you're trying to get through it, it's just like, and you can't get through it because there's
Oh
weapon
shit.
collision. And it's supposed to be realistic, so you can't turn if you're in a corridor unless you like put your weapon down,
Oh my
turn.
God.
It's also they really would like hit the ball out of the park with it back then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this game. I remember it being so much fun, and I was really hesitant to kind of reinstall it in case it was just shit.
Right.
But I've reinstalled it, and I've played it so much over the past like maybe 2 months. It's, it's an easy one because it runs on really. It's designed to run on like a 2002 hardware, isn't it? So 20 years later, with a RTX 3070 or whatever it is in this, dude, as soon as you click the button, you don't even have to click the icon. It's ready to go. You're like, oh, cool, I'm in the game already. It's like a old school Nintendo, just putting that cartridge in and pressing power, and you're in the game. It's amazing, but it's so much fun
Exactly.
because, like, obviously having two kids and working, I don't have a lot of time to game anymore. I used to spend
Hmm.
hours and hours and weeks with a few of the guys I play airsoft with playing DayZ, like
Yeah.
proper hardcore into it.
Yep.
And we'd get back from work, we'd get some food, we'd get on DayZ, and then before you know it, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. You're like, fuck, dude. Obviously, can't do that anymore. So I needed someone just to, like scratch that itch, I guess. So
Yeah.
Infiltration has been a really good sort of just super casual, super laid back thing. And because it's so old as well, there's thousands and thousands of maps that people have built.
Oh shit.
So I'm just going on the old things and just downloading random Unreal Tournament maps because they all work with Infiltration because it's a mod from that.
Oh, that's
Absolutely
cool.
loads of fun. And one that I'm going to reinstall next is the OG Ghost Recon,
Oh yeah.
but with the Heroes Unleashed mod.
Oh, I haven't tried
It,
that.
it doesn't update anything graphically, but it adds about 6,000 weapon loadout. Like, on Ghost Recon, you couldn't really like
Right.
change much about your loadout. You had like M16A2 and a Beretta, a few
Yep.
hand grenades. That was your loadout. You click one along, it's an OICW and a Beretta. You're like, cool. One along, M24 Beretta. Right, cool. It's
Yep.
not that diverse. But with this, you're like clicking through like Mark 12, like, oh, yeah, well, Mark 12 Mod Zero. I love them. And
Oh,
then,
dude, that looks awesome.
yeah, dude, love this
That
thing.
paint on that
Oh
looks
yeah,
awesome.
my giraffe paint.
Did you paint that?
Yeah, dude. Um,
What?
just sidetracking here from Ghost Recon a little bit.
Yeah, but
This
dude, that
year,
looks fucking awesome.
so this year is my Mark 12 Mod Zero project. That still needs quite a bit of work. There's no inner barrel in it currently.
Yeah.
This started off as the first ICS rifle that I bought. It was a 2006 anniversary edition M4 Para. One of, I think they had 500 worldwide, and this was number 20.
Holy shit.
So I bought that in 2007 and ran it up until 2016. Basically stock inside. The only thing I changed was, well, midway through it was the tappet plate. I don't know if you know about ICS guns. They've got a split gearbox, so you can just
Split gearbox.
push the back TMH pin out and then it folds up and you can take the upper gearbox out.
Right.
Somebody asked me about it because they were interested in like the split gearbox. So I just popped it open without resetting the gears. Because on the older ones like this, if you hit the forward assist, it actually resets the gears to the standard default position. So there's no tension on that spring.
Right.
So I didn't do that. So there's still tension on the spring and the gears were set. So like the little pickup nub for the tappet plate was straight where the tappet plate was. Slammed it back closed and just snapped the tappet plate off. So
shit.
Learn by doing, I guess. I've never done it since. So yeah, it was stock for many, many years. Just ran really well. It was sounding a little bit haggard towards the end of its life. And then I built this guy after that to replace it, which is another ICS sort of platform. But I always wanted a Mark 12. A friend of mine had a Mark 12 and absolutely loved it. And I just love the aesthetic, just this handguard. So nice.
Yeah, I like the design on it. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I bought the D-Boys Mark 12 kit from Amazon. It took like 6 years to arrive. Came from somewhere janky. And then, just built this. It's still a work in progress, like I said. But the paint job started off just... Originally, the old, when it was the M4, it had OD green, buttstock, pistol grip, and then the handguard was OD green. Then I painted it as a tan splinter pattern sort of thing for a while. But then when I was building this, I repainted the whole thing. Originally just tan. No, started off... How did I do it? Yes. Flat grey for the primer to get rid, so you couldn't see any of the other paint through it. Then I got the blingiest gold you can get. Painted the entire thing gold.
Oh shit!
And then I got Halfords. Halfords is a car shop here in the UK.
Okay.
They sell all sorts of paint. They sell camouflage spray paint.
Nice.
So it's like a Krylon sort of copy.
Right.
So bought some flat dark earth, or as close to flat dark earth as I've got, and sprayed that lightly over the gold. So you can, if you like, it's not really going to come through on the camera, but you can still kind of see that burnt bronze gold color through the tan. Because there's like I haven't got anything with it on here. You know that aesthetic that like the HK 416 has, that gold looking handguard.
Okay.
I was kind of going for that look, and then basically just covered it in cut up bits of masking tape and just sprayed brown over the whole thing, which is the sort of zebra shapes. Because I saw a guy with like an M110 or something like that, like it may even been a Mark 12 Mod 1. But it hit proper giraffe print all over it. And I was like, that's really cool. I've got to do that. And then to break it up even more, I just did the standard where you just get a bit of like wash bag, rip it open, put it on, and then just spray some more brown and OD green.
Okay.
And obviously it's deserty colours, and we don't have any desert over here, so it's not going to be the best. But
stands out a little bit.
Yeah, dude. I'll put that back down there now.
Yeah, it's cool though. I was going to ask if you use tape on it, to create some of those lines. Yeah, it looks good. The most in-depth paint job I did, as far as like camouflage stuff, was this sniper rifle we were doing for a giveaway for, and I can't remember which one it was. It was something we got out of a mystery box. It was like a halfway decent one, but we were standing out in the back. We just got done reviewing it, and we were talking about the giveaway thing, and then we were talking about painting it, and I had just had some new, I had grass seed, that I put down. So I had straw and hay. Yeah. So we're standing out there, and I went into the shed, me, my sons, and their friend was, who got them into airsoft. So I was like, I'll paint it right now. And they're like, what's what? I'm like, here. So I picked up a handful of straw and I got the two different colors and I just started going like this and it turned out pretty good looking.
Yeah, dude.
But I didn't care. I would take the straw and like drop it on there and however it laid, that's what I went. And of course, the spray would just blow the straw off sometimes. So it ended
Yeah,
up
yeah.
really random, kind of shit. But people liked it. I was like, I am not a good painter, bro.
I think the most in-depth paint job that I did, I was using Nuprol paint. Nuprol's a pretty big brand over here, I guess. And they
Okay.
do all sorts of stuff like iPro, BBs, guns. They also do ultra flat spray paint in like tan, brown, ordy green, black. So I bought maybe 20 cans of that and rattle can spray painted my car.
Oh shit.
So yeah, dude. So it's that colour, so like flat tan.
Yeah.
Just like when the coup happened and lockdown was going on, like I need a project.
Yeah.
So masked off all the glass and the lights and everything, sanded it all down, and then just spent a few days just out there just spray painting it.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah, so
wild. It
it's
turned out good?
yeah, dude, it's pretty good. I've had to redo it again since because it's obviously like two and a bit years now since like that OG lockdown. But
Yeah.
yeah, the plastic, the bumpers and that, it didn't take quite as well to it, and it's kind of flaked off in places
Yeah.
and really faded. But on the actual metal parts, it worked really well.
Oh shit. Now,
So
did you put like clear coat or some kind of spray
no,
over
I
it?
do just left it as it is because I wanted to test the paint as well because they said
Oh,
it's
okay.
really chip resistant. Really, this stuff I've got on here, I'm just twatting my rifle, is the stuff from Halfords from that fireplace, and
Oh.
this has got a clear coat on it, but it still chips, so
Uh,
it's really easy to sort of knock off and flake.
yeah.
But that stuff really, really well. It's a 4x4, a Fiat Panda 4x4. It's a little
Okay.
tactical vehicle now.
Oh,
And
cool.
I've gone green lining and off roading and stuff in it, and there's been all sorts flying up and hitting it, and still looks like a reasonably new paint job, which is good.
Damn, that
So
is
yeah,
wild. Okay. Now here in
yeah,
South
dude.
Carolina, where I'm at, we have a lot of rednecks. We have a lot of people that
All from this.
yeah, dude. We have a lot of people that paint their, spray paint their trucks
Yeah,
for, to make it look, camouflage pattern and shit. Because, their pickup truck, they're rednecks, they go hunting, they, park in the woods or they
yeah,
whatever. So, and most of the ones I've seen, like they look pretty shitty, man. Like they don't know how to spray paint right, so there's like runs and drips and
yeah.
yeah,
Back when I was spray painting it originally, the boot or the trunk door, as
yeah,
you'd call it, um, it was super hot, sunny, and I was spraying it, and that was just running. It like wouldn't dry,
yeah.
and it just basically ran. So it's got that's the worst part of the paint job, I think, is the boot. So I ended up when I redid it, I left it open so it was like flat.
Oh,
Spray
gotcha.
painted it that way, but it's still you can still see the older sort of drips through it.
Right.
But from 10 feet away, it looks like a proper job. I'll send you a
Yeah.
picture later on if you want to see it.
Yeah, dude, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. Well, how did
it
you
hits.
oh, go ahead.
I'm going to say my team logo. This guy, my one of my team logos.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's the what is that
a
mask that the
magpie skull. Like, oh, do you mean like
yeah,
the plague doctor mask?
right.
No, that's just a magpie skull. I'm
Oh, okay.
proper into magpies. They're very good.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, so I've got a vinyl cutter. So I got some black matte vinyl and cut that logo out. So that's on my car as well.
Oh shit.
So it matches.
Oh, that's cool, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I want to move this guy out of the way. That's right where my knees are.
So how did you the area you live in now, did you grow up in the UK and
Yeah, dude.
started out
I
there?
was born in a place called Blackburn, which is literally 15 minutes where we're that way. For anybody who wants to know, it's over there. You can probably zero in on me from that.
Yeah, because we can see where you're,
Yeah. I mean, it might be different if if the camera's flipped for you, I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, so born over there, but I live in a town called Accrington, which is a northern industrial town. It was really booming at the turn of the century for cotton production, and the whole town was basically mills and big factories,
Mm.
and then terraced houses. I don't know if you get terraced houses in the US, which are just generally it's a row of houses, and they're just all next door to each other.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like generally
Yeah.
2 rooms downstairs, 2 rooms upstairs, a back
Hmm.
garden with a shed for your toilet back in the
Yeah,
turn of the
that's what
century, you know?
right. So we have the same thing here. They call them townhomes.
Right, cool.
Hmm.
So it's just rows and rows and rows of that, and
Gotcha.
then factories. Towards like the 90s, all these mills started getting knocked down or turned into other businesses, and the town kind of declined. But it's all basically still that old school northern mill town aesthetic.
Yeah.
And it's super famous for a couple of things. One of them is an advert. If you go onto YouTube and type Accrington Stanley milk, you'll get an advert, which is these two, I think, they're Scouse kids, with Scouse from Liverpool,
Okay.
and they're probably about 9 or 10 years old. And one of them's like pouring himself a glass of milk. He goes, "What are you drinking that for?" He goes, "My mum says if I drink my milk when I'm old enough, I'll be able to play for Accrington Stanley." And the other guy's like, "Accrington Stanley? Who are they?" And he's like, "Exactly." And that's what we're fucking world famous for, that advert. I
Oh
was
my
in New
God.
York, right? I was in the middle of fucking Manhattan. And this dude's like, "Hey, yo, you from England?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude." It's like, "London?" I'm like, "No, dude, a bit further north than that." It's like, "Oh, Edinburgh." I'm like, "Edinburgh?" And no, that's a different country. That's like Canada for us. Uh, Near Manchester. Little town called Accrington. Accrington Stanley! I'm like, "Fuck's sake, dude, really?" I'm thousands of miles away from home, and this dude who doesn't even know Scotland is a different country knows Accrington Stanley from this advert in the 80s.
Oh my
But
God.
another connection to New York, the Empire State Building, the foundations for that are built from our other chief export, the Accrington Norrye brick.
No shit.
So not too far from where I live is the Aki Norrye Brickworks, and the history of the thing goes like they're a super strong brick, and it was supposed to be called the iron brick. And the guy who made the mold for the brick wrote iron, and
Uh,
then when the first lot of bricks came out, he'd written it just normally, not reversed, so it came out saying Norrye. So they basically changed the name to the Norrye Brick Company.
huh.
And
That's wild.
yeah, and they're all over the world in like really big buildings. Their
Okay.
foundations back in Norrye.
No
Good
shit.
times. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, I've been digging up the back garden recently to put some decking down, and it's just full of old Norrye bricks just in the soil and grass. Nasty stuff. But yeah,
That's wild. Okay.
digressing completely there from the
No,
point.
that's cool though.
Yeah,
I mean, this is, it's interesting. I love hearing about this stuff because, this is obviously an area I'm not familiar with, personally. So, uh, when I first started having people on here from different countries, uh, I could start to tell, they would tell me where they're from, like in the UK.
yeah,
And, the only way I don't know my geography too well. Now I can look it up, obviously, on a map, but I noticed the way they would speak, like I don't know, not dialect, but their
the
accent.
accent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their accent was different from if they were from the like southern part of UK to the northern part.
Oh, dude,
And
it's not even just that. It's if I go to the next town over, Burnley,
yeah,
the accent's different. It's Burnley. Oh, it's not. It's
really?
really bad. Yeah, Burnley and well, where I'm located now, Accrington is in between Blackburn and Burnley, and they hate each other. And they've both got different accents as well. It's great. And then if you go half an hour up the road to Manchester, you've got the Manc accent, which is totally different as well. And then if you go over God forbid, if you've got to go over the border into Yorkshire, you've got to get your injections before you go over the border. Um, Totally different accents over there. They do sound kind of similar to us, but Jon Snow, Game of Thrones,
Yep.
that's the sort of northern stereotypical. If anybody says, "Oh, you're from North," they think of like the Yorkshire or the sort of this area accent, and then you go a bit further north to like Teesside and sort of around Newcastle, which is where I listened to your episode with Lucifer and Poison Wonder.
Yeah.
They're from up there, so they've got
Okay.
like the Geordie accent,
Yeah.
which is another one. And then even further from that, you're crossing the wall, into Scotland, going beyond the wall. You've got 60 other accents up there as well. And then if you go down south, you go further down than us, you got like Liverpool. You got the Scouse accent. I used to play airsoft at a lot of sites in Liverpool, so know a lot of people with that accent, and it's a good laugh. You go even further down, you get things like Birmingham. I can't even do a Birmingham accent. Bloody Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blind. I love that show, dude. We watched the whole fucking thing. Yeah.
I'll give you a fucking cool bit of trivia about that in a minute.
Okay.
But Peaky Blinders, they're from Birmingham, so they've got this kind of. They don't really have the Birmingham accent, the actual proper thick Birmingham accent, but that it's one of Britain's most hated accents.
Really?
Everybody in the UK is like, fucking Birmingham accent. And then as you get further down, you get southern accents. And people always say that the further south you get, the more posh you get. So if you ask, say you ask an American to do a British accent, standard issue British accent for an American is the Cockney Mary Poppins accent. I've been to London a few times, sadly. I'm not a fan of London at all. That accent, it's nothing like the Mary Poppins accent, and it doesn't sound posh at all like everybody says it does. It's a dirty sort of. There's going to be a bunch of Cockneys coming after me now. I'll stick up here in Manchester, the capital of the North.
Oh shit.
But yeah, I was going to say, sidetracking from accents, because we could go on all day getting into like Cornish accents and shit like that, which are like hobbits. Hobbits have a Cornish accent. Yeah. I was thinking about that, watching the new Lord of the Rings thing last night. Laughing at all the different accents. Yeah.
Right.
Completely.
Ring of Power or something?
Yeah,
I watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I watched the first 3. My wife doesn't know I've watched the third one yet.
Okay. But, I didn't know the third one came out yet. Okay.
Yeah, yesterday, Friday.
Oh,
yesterday,
nice.
Wasn't it? Yeah. So I was yesterday while I was at work. It was a day where I spent all week shooting a bunch of stuff, and the deadline for all this stuff was yesterday. Yeah. So I just I brought my tablet and just had that on.
Oh, okay.
On my desk. So I was kind of like mainly just listening to it.
Right.
But obviously, like just editing in Photoshop and Lightroom, what I had to do. And just up and down every now and then. But yeah, aside from accents, we're going to go back to Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, dude.
I used to contract for a company called Boohoo here in the UK, which is fast fashion. They're absolutely massive worldwide now. Give it a Googs. They're super massive. Really good company to work for if you're in the Manchester office. It's all super creative. It's really absolutely beautiful building outside. It's a really old mill sort of building and super modernized inside. I was part of the still life team doing photography, and it's right in the middle of the Northern Quarter, which is Captain America was filmed there. And anytime you want like a 1930s New York, they come to Northern Quarter in Manchester because
nice.
The buildings look like 1930s New York with exterior fire escapes and just the aesthetic. So Peaky Blinders recorded there as well. They shot there. So anytime they're on a back alley outside the Garrison pub, that's Northern Quarter in Manchester, or in I think maybe season 2 or 3. Tommy Shelby, he's up on he's on one of the fire escapes with it's like MP18 submachine gun or whatever it is, and there's all them blocks down there, and he has a bit of a shootout. Yeah, that location is right across from the front door of the Boohoo building. So every time they're recording, that street is like super awkward to get down to get to work, and you've got like 1920s cars driving up and down it, and then didn't realize that day that they were filming a firefight, a shootout. So I'm in the studio and you can just hear like rounds popping off outside, and I'm like, fucking hell, it's Taliban here. What the fuck's going on? Am I about to have to fight something? Nah. Okay, right. So you go out at end of day, walk past the set, and you're like trying to peep in, see if you can see anybody. Security's trying to stop me. I'm like sneaking down this other side street, trying to get onto the set to have a look.
Yeah.
Got escorted out by a big hefty security guard, and he's like, "Seen you tried to get in here 4 or 5 times today." I'm like, "Well, you've got to, haven't you, mate? You know, if you want to meet Killian Murphy, you know, get a handshake, high five. You know, you got to sneak onto the set, haven't you? I've done it before, you know." So he's like, "Right, yeah, so you must be a big fan then." I'm like, "Really big fan, love it. It's a great show, absolutely love it." He's like, "Tell you what, I've got this for you. You know, let me just root about over here." Anyway, he pulls this out.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so this is 45 ACP blank
Yeah.
that was used on the set of Peaky Blinders. And he
Oh,
says,
that's cool.
your man, Mr. Murphy, killed a bad guy with this." I'm like, "Dude, fucking spoilers, mate." Spoilers. Yeah, so sits on my desk over here next to
Dude, that's cool as shit. Okay.
yeah, next to another little historical thing. This is a cap badge for the Connaught Rangers, which are a really famous battalion of the British Army.
Oh, okay.
Disbanded now, but I have
Yeah.
a distant relative who died on Gallipoli, who was with the 5th Service Battalion of the Connaught Rangers. So I got to keep a memorial for him next to that there.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild. I always wanted to
Doing
talk
that
to
thing again.
somebody in the UK about Peaky Blinders because I was so into that show.
Yeah, man.
I don't know, just, I didn't really have any questions about it. I just wanted to see, I guess, their perspective of it because it takes place in that area.
Yeah, I mean, it's set, I guess, in Birmingham, which is that accent again. But that's like maybe 3 hours away from me.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a connection to the actual location of the show. But
Yeah.
it's exciting that it was through the 2014 to 2018 when I worked with Boohoo, being able to see them actively there shooting and seeing the actual Shelby brothers walking up and down the alley and stuff. Go, "Oh, there he is. There.
Right.
It's good stuff." But
You're
yeah.
waiting for what was his brother's name? Tommy's brother's name? Fuck.
That's going to bug me
Arthur.
now.
Arthur.
Oh, I think
You're waiting for Arthur to bust through your door like, by order of the Peaky fucking Blinders.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. I saw him. He was firing a revolver or something. I can't remember which series it was from, but I got to see him on set, walking back and forth, up and down. Must have done the thing like 6 times to get the. But yeah.
That's cool, man.
Good.
Hell yeah.
I went over to Manchester one time on my birthday. They were shooting Peaky Blinders up there again. And I'd missed it. They'd finished, everybody had left, but the set was still being taken down. So I walked into the set and I'm like, "Well, lads, if you just walk through and like you're meant to be there, you don't give a fuck."
Right.
I walked through until nobody were looking. And, they've got like old school looking posters and advertisements and bills up on the wall.
Right.
I just peeled one off the wall and rolled it up, just stuck it under my jacket and just kept walking. So yeah, I've got up in the loft as well, there's an advert for a shoe shining company or something.
Oh, shit.
It's a super, really bad print. It's just really crap paper with really crap print on it. Painted over to make it look like it's all dirty and covered in soot and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild.
Couple of souvenirs from that.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Were you
show.
going to ask, when we went on the side track about printing?
I was just your background, like grew up there. I guess what led.
One sec, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think everybody's back home. I'm just going to check.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
That didn't disconnect the Ricks. The walls in this house are built out of cement, and anytime I walk away from the computer, the Bluetooth usually disconnects.
Oh no, it's good.
Cool. Yeah. Sorry. Everybody's back.
So I guess your background, growing up, and then kind of what got you into airsoft in the first place, and then of course. You have a long history in airsoft, and of course, with you talking about the trying to figure out the camera, scope cam, like your homemade
Yeah,
scope cam and shit. Like, so to do that though, you definitely loved the sport.
yeah,
You were,
definitely.
and you love filming and photography. So how did you get into, all
Well,
that shit?
airsoft itself, I'll sort of go two ways. I'll tell you about airsoft and about the sort of YouTube thing because they're both different, totally different
Okay.
journeys. Airsoft, I found back in the 90s. So, I mean, I like it when I'm talking to airsofters at sites who are like in the 20s. And I'm like, dude, I was playing airsoft when you were still in your daddy's balls. And, but yeah, so back for, I think it was on my 14th birthday, maybe, I wanted to go play paintball. A lot of us were super into guns and shooting, and we'd fired air rifles, and I fired a 22 rimfire at my dad's mate's got a load of land, and he uses it to guard his chickens from a fox or something.
Gotcha.
So I'd had a little bit of experience shooting back then, and I wanted to find a paintball site. So my mum said, if you can find a paintball site that's within half an hour of here, I guess, you can go. I'm like, no factor, let's look for it. So went to a shop, which back then was called John Menzies. Pardon me, burping. Pepsi Max repeating on me. It's now called WH Smith for those of you in the UK. I went in there and found a magazine called Gunmart. And Gunmart is like the paper quality is like super newspaper kind of paper. It's a thick magazine. It's all about air rifle shooting, shotguns. There's maybe back then there were maybe 2 or 3 pages on paintball and airsoft, and I'd be like flicking through because I'm like, this is definitely going to be the magazine. There was like a yellow pages sort of thing at the back of all these different gun shops and all sorts of
Oh, okay.
places, and there were paintball sites in there. So I was going to get some phone numbers and just 14-year-old me was going to ring up like, paintball, do you have this? Trying to find out where they were. So I'm flicking through this and I find the paintball and airsoft section or whatever it was called. And I'm looking at these paintball pictures and I turn the page and there was a advert for a UK shop, might have been Wolf Armories. And they had a big Stay a Rogue just at the top with like a price tag next to it. And
Nice.
then I'm like, what, you can buy that? What? And I'm like looking further and further and I'm reading like ammo beeps. So I'm like putting 2 and 2 together like, oh, this gun must shoot these little balls. This is amazing. What the hell? So I'm like buying the magazine, talking to my mates who were going to go paintballing with. I'm like, we can't go paintballing now. Look at this. We've got to get these instead.
Yeah.
And back then it's like 240 quid for a starter gun and way out of our budget.
Yeah.
So then we started looking into it more, and there was a shop in the middle of Accrington that everybody in Accrington who's into shooting sports knows about. It's like the mecca for us. It was called Target Technics. Tiny little terrace front shop. It was actually on the same street as my former studio. Just, yeah, a little piece of Accrington history, run by a really nice old geezer called Richard. And we used to go down and we'd go in and he'd be like, you can't come in here with your parents, kids. You can't just be coming in and messing about. And he'd give us like paperwork, leaflets for like sports marketing or whatever it was called, with like all these spring pistols in it and then a non-blowback Marui pistols. And then he had a Marui AK up on the wall and then a spring Car 98, which I now own. I actually own that very rifle.
Nice. Okay.
And yeah, so we used to go in and pester him day after day after, because you have to be 17 to buy one. You have to be 17. I'm like, Anyway, he goes, or if you've got a parent who will buy it for you, you can be 14. And I'm like, funny story, we're 14. It's like, well, if you can bring your parent back, you can buy one.
Oh, shit.
And we found in the window of his shop, he had this offer. There was a spring, I think it was made by UHC, Unicorn Hobby Corporation. Smith & Wesson M645, so it's like a silver semi-auto, 1911 looking, but chunkier. And it said, sold as is. Basically, people had returned broken pistols, and if you could fix them, it'd sell them for a bit higher, but some of them, you just put them in the windows, £6 as a prop or a display piece.
Oh, yeah.
Or like I think it was £6 each, or 3 for 15.
Mm.
So me and two of my mates put fiver each together and went down with my mum, and we bought three of these pistols, and then just got them working again. Just
Oh
taking them
shit.
apart and tinkering and learning how to play them. So they were just really crap spring pistols.
Yeah.
And then it grew from there, where we used to take them to school, as you do when you're 14-year-old and you don't really know it's a stupid as fuck thing to do. And we'd be having like little skirmishes, like with 12.12 BBs, little spring pistols, in the
Yeah.
cemetery next to the school or whatever, getting told off by the teachers for they're like taking them off us and giving them to our parents, and
Oh
learning
shit.
like you do. And
Yeah.
then it evolved from there. So I asked my dad if I could get a fairly decent one, and I ended up with a spring USP,
Mm.
and it wasn't much better than the ones I had previously, but it was a lot solider, a lot better. And then that kind of led to us wearing like swimming goggles in the back garden and setting
Oh
up
shit. Yeah.
little barricades and stuff, and just having spring games. And then we evolved then onto what were called mini electrics, which were like shrunken down MP5s and M16s, and then ran off AA batteries.
Oh
You
wow.
pulled the rear sight of the MP5 back and poured BBs into it, and they were just like zip, 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 zip. No, they were really crap, doing about 150 feet per second with a 12. You get
Oh
about 30
shit.
feet range out of them, but in a terraced house back garden, which is maybe, I don't know, 12 feet wide by 40 feet long, with some turned over plastic tables and stuff.
Yeah.
Perfect. You just like put down some suppressing fire while your mate runs up with a spring pistol
Right.
and a party popper full of BBs.
So that I wonder if those are like the first type of AEGs that came out with the little,
No, I mean, there were
double A
proper
batteries.
AGs at that time as well. These were
Oh,
just
okay.
a
Okay.
novelty thing made
Yeah.
by Marui, aimed at kids.
Oh.
So, yeah, we used to use them. And then Richard at Target Technics got in some non-blowback pistols, some old Marui NBBs and some HFC NBBs. So we just started buying them. So then we were buying like cans of gas, like green gas, and these pistols. So we kept evolving and evolving and evolving until
Yeah.
we got to like 16 years old. We found the airsofter.org. It's affectionately named the All Blue. All is in like old with an apostrophe. All. The
Oh,
All
okay.
Blue
Yeah.
forums, which from like maybe in 1999 to maybe 2003 was the go-to place for the UK airsoft scene. It
Mm.
was the best an airsoft community online has ever been. Like, I don't know if
Really?
that's me looking at it with like rose-tinted glasses or anything, but
Right.
it was absolutely a solid community because airsoft was really young back then,
Yeah.
and the community was much smaller.
Mm.
So everybody was kind of a little more tighter knit and a little more friendly.
Right.
And there were some people who were really knowledgeable about it and would tell you to stay away from this gun, go for that gun, save up, don't buy that, do this. And there's a chat client called IRC,
Hmm.
and it's just like a client for chat rooms,
Right.
and you could basically set up a chat room. You had like a hashtag name, and I think you had a number as well that you had to put in, and you could join a chat room. So airsoft.org had #airsoft, and we'd all go in there and talk about airsoft, and oh dude, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that, this is gonna, and just a bunch of kids and like maybe two 21-year-olds just talking about airsoft.
Yeah.
And yeah, we kind of learned about AEGs and proper skirmishing through that. And then we quickly found out they had a second-hand forum on there, like a classified section. Back then, buying things over the internet was a pain in the ass because there was no PayPal. And
Oh,
so
right.
I bought my first AEG through the Blue Forums, which was an Academy XM177E2. Academy was a model club, not model club, a model company that
Mm.
makes like I think they make model trains and shit,
Oh
but they
shit.
also made model guns
Yeah.
that you built from scratch, like kits.
Right.
And then they made spring pistols and stuff, and then they kind of copied the Marui XM177 and the MP5A5. The gearbox and the motor were all connected together as one piece. The
Oh wow.
receivers like didn't break apart like the Marui. It was just like a clamshell thing that went together, fixed
Yeah.
top up. The magazines were slightly smaller than Marui specs, so you couldn't use any other mags. They were
Mm.
super cheap, super nasty, but 130 quid. And I'm like, that's half the price of a Marui one. Let's do it. I
Yeah.
bought it off this guy who was selling it because he bought that as his first gun and he bought something new and he was selling that to obviously make money back. So I had to pay him by check through the
Oh
post.
shit.
So because this guy lived at the other end of the country as well.
Right.
So I had to write a check. I didn't have a checkbook, so I was like 15, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm like, Dad, can I give you this money and then you send a check to this guy? And what's really, I still remember the guy's username. And is that right? What name am I writing on this check? I'm like, Grim666, but it's got 3 R's. He's like, no, I can't write that. I can't write that on a check because that won't work. What's his actual name? I'm like, I'll find out. So I had his address, but the only name I had for him was his forum username.
Right.
So I got this guy's name. It turned out this guy was the same age as me as well.
Okay.
So found out his dad's name because that's who I was paying. We sent the check off. The check cleared within a week, and then about 4 months later, I finally got the gun. It was a whole thing where this kid immediately spent the money, didn't send the gun, and then I was back and forth with him on the forums. My dad was getting pissed off. I got a phone number off him. My dad rang his dad. His dad kicked the kid's ass. Put him into a... Because basically, as it turned out, they'd been... Because he was excited they had all this money and then didn't feel an urgency to send the gun. So he'd still been skirmishing with that gun and his gun with his mates in the back garden.
Right.
So then, when it got sent, it got stopped in post and they opened it up and examined it for some reason. I guess they must have scanned it and seen a gun and then checked it. Because when it arrived, the magazines were loaded. So he said he hadn't sent them loaded and it was wrapped in like tape saying it had been opened and inspected. I'm like, fucking hell, dude. So it was like a whole 6-month ordeal trying to get this first AEG. And I was the first... Well, my good friend Ev, who's on a recent episode of my podcast, he'd picked up a Marui MP5K for like really cheap, but couldn't find any batteries for it anywhere. So he got the first AEG out of the group of us, but couldn't use it. So I got this, and I'm like calling everybody, like ringing house phones, like, lads, let's have a back garden game at my house. Let's have a back garden game at my house. And so everybody turns up with a non-blowback pistols and the spring, but a Dong San Spring Spas 12, which fired about 80 feet per second. It were every other this mediocre shit tier guns.
Yeah.
And the way the thing was laid out was, my aunt lived next door, so we had access to 2 back gardens.
Oh, nice.
And then the neighbours, when they were out, they said, yeah, fine, you can jump over into our garden. So we had 3 gardens, and we'd set up like tables and chairs and stuff so we could get over the walls.
Yeah.
And I wanted to play a King of the Castle game, which is a game we made up where I'd get on top of the shed, and they had to attack me and try and whoever killed me could get on, and they were the king of the castle.
Yeah.
So I'm up there with a little mini electric MP5, like zip, 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 and then they're behind these tables and stuff, and then they're all like ducking down, and while they duck down, I pull out this XM177 and just flick it onto automatic, and they step up and like just open up on them. They had no idea I had this AEG. And it was
they didn't know yet?
They did not know.
Even into the game, you didn't tell them?
Yeah, I didn't tell them. I just hid it where I was thinking, this is why I wanted to play this King of the Castle game. Because the gun was on top of the shed, hidden.
Do this big reveal.
Yeah, dude. So I just stood up and just opened up on him like... I felt
my God.
Al Pacino at the end of Scarface, just like, ah... And it was brilliant. They were like, oh my God, you've got an AEG. It was absolutely amazing.
Cool, man.
And then we all started like buying AEGs at that point. Like, so we were all turning 16, getting jobs, and then we could all start buying AEGs. And then September 2000 was the first airsoft game, or the first proper. There was a site. Our local site was in Sheffield, which is not local by any means. So there were paintball sites around us, but none of them would do what they called a 6mm event. They just do paintball. So if we wanted to do an airsoft event, we had to go halfway across the country, I guess. But Sheffield, maybe about an hour and a half to this site. And they'd done a test game with a bunch of people, went down really well. And then they were going to start running it, called Ambush Airsoft. And
oh, shit.
They set up on the Old Blue forums. A lot of the people who went to the event were on the forums and we were all talking. There was a big team that played at other sites called Zulu Troop. We're talking about 21, 22 members of this team. They were probably the biggest team in the country at the time.
Yeah.
Even bigger than like Wasp Team and Los Labos, the old school. Like any old school British airsofters will be like the nostalgia vibes there when I mentioned those three team names. But Zulu Troop, they wore, depending on the season, in the summer they wore entirely Flex-On. In the winter they wore, is it Taz 83, whatever it is, the Alpenflage.
Oh yeah.
So they all wore uniform stuff, and they all had specific roles to play in the team, and they were super organized.
Right.
And me and my lads were like, I'm going to my first game, so I've got some cheap knockoff DPM combat, some walking boots, and a soft shell sort of jacket, an old US LBV, you know, the ones that's like got 4 AI pouches and 2 frag pouches at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then a Scott mask, and a Alex M177 single magazine. And the mates just had like similar loadouts, like DPM with some old DPM PLC webbing, or a Webtex, or a Arctis chest rig, or whatever. Just default masks, super beginner. We look for beginners. We looked all right, but absolute beginner gear, shit tier gear. And then we were like, we're going to be the best team on site because we've been practicing every night in our back garden.
Right.
We're going to be the best. We're going to be amazing. We didn't know, like, Zulu Troop had like 20 odd members.
Yeah.
We're going into Hash Airsoft where a lot of them were like hanging out. We're like, oh yeah, Zulu Troop. We called ourselves Team Matrix for some reason. Like, Team Matrix is coming. We're going to be there on the September event. It's going to be amazing. We are going to kick your asses.
Oh,
going
shit.
down, but we're like proper like 16-year-old, like going through puberty, like super excited, hopped up, thinking we're drinking some Smirnoff Ices sneakily in shed.
Yeah.
Thinking we're hard as fuck.
You're
Anyway,
the big
turned
boys
up.
now.
Yeah, dude, we turned up and got our, because they knew who we were, and we turned up, and they made a show of it that they were all in one area, and we're like, one of the guys came over and shook my hand and goes, all right, I'm a like called Fortress from Zulu Troop. These are the guys for it. It's probably in his like mid-20s at that point, but he was a big fucking guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm knelt down in my kit bag and I look up and he's just giant over me, like, fucking hell. And this other guy called Semi comes over. Semi's like a former EOD guy who just fucks around with explosives all the time. He used to do demos at the site, like, look at this thing I've just made, and then half the site would disappear.
Oh my god!
And then the other lads would come over and slowly introduce them to us. I was like, yeah, I'm my name's Tree Magnet Sniper, Zulu Troop. And I'm like, all right. Before I know it, I'd shook hands with like 20 odd guys, and like my testicles had done this a little bit, like retracted, like in Snatch. And I'm like,
oh my god!
We've maybe bigged ourselves up a little bit much here. But we couldn't like, we'd made the team through the forums. Like, there were 3 of us, me, Ev, and Coop, who were like best mates from school, and we were the core of the team initially. Well, there were 4 of us, but Lofty, our other guy, he didn't come with us. So there were 3 of us who actually lived within 15 minutes of each other, who played together in the back gardens every weekend. And then a lad called Dave, who called himself Slick, he lived Macclesfield way, which is towards Manchester, which back then when none of us had a car, it might as well have been fucking the Middle East or something.
Exactly.
So he was there, he was on the team, and then there was a guy called Steve, who he was probably in his mid to late 20s back then. And we're like 16-year-olds, and he was like, he obviously didn't know how young we were, I guess, when we were talking on the forums until we turned up. And I'm like, yeah, join the team. He's former Royal Air Force, I think it was RAF Regiment.
Oh,
which
shit.
The Special Forces of the Air Force, you know.
Yeah.
And any British military guys now are laughing at that.
Yeah, for real.
The RAF Regiment is kind of like the laughing stock of the British forces. Cause,
it is?
Yeah, I've never served military-wise. The extent of my career is about 2 weeks with the Sea Cadets and like a weekend deployment to Asda, packing shopping bags for old ladies. But I don't know if you know what the cadet forces are over there. It's like kind of like scouts. Kind of like the scouts.
Scouts. Okay, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah. two of the lads who I started the team with were Sea Cadets, and I wanted to be in the Army Cadets because they were down the street from my house. But they were like, Army Cadets are a bunch of wankers. They all wank each other off, and you don't want to do that. And I'm like, well, I don't know, mate. It might be a bit fun, but Sea Cadets, it's the Navy. We get to go on ships. In reality, they had a canal barge on the canal next to them, which was their ship. But so I turned up and I joined, and I lasted seriously about 2 weeks, and we were going to do this. It was like a carnival or some shit, and they were doing a recruiting sort of thing there. And they were like, right, this is the uniform you're wearing. Fucking bell bottoms. And I'm like, no, I'm straight out, not wearing bell bottoms. So I left.
How dare you?
That were it. I'm
bell bottoms are coming back, bro.
Nah, dude. So they were proper like navy bell bottoms. They were massive.
Oh yeah.
I'm
huge.
like, not having that. Not having that. I get the shit kicked at me at school enough as it is. Not wearing bell bottoms in a place where kids from school are definitely coming. Not happening. So I left. But yeah, so sidetracking from all that, from the RAF regiment and that, back to September 2000 ambush. I'm digressing slightly again. I've still got a scar from this game on my hand.
Oh shit!
So
you just get done meeting all this whole team.
Met the whole team. We've gone through the safety brief. We got everything squared away. We're ready to play the first game, just a team deathmatch game. We were blue team. They were grey team. And we're just like pushing forward. It's probably like a 20-minute game, and we're just shooting and shooting. None of us have got shot because we were doing what noobs do. We're way at the back, just thinking our BBs are getting close to them, but really they're just dropping 30 meters in front of them or whatever. And we're just like, I'm sure I got in. And then it gets to a point where we're in this like this, what do they call it, like a foxhole sort of thing, almost like a trench.
Yeah.
And they were way in front of us, 30 meters, like 100 feet. And the site staff, the marshal, comes over and goes, right, come on, blue team. Last minute now. We're coming up on the end of the game, and you guys can still win this if you push hard. But there were no chance of going it. If you can push hard now, get up, and if you make a strong, confident move, you can take that enemy team and win the game. I'm like, dude, the adrenaline's going now. I reckon we can do this, lads. So I'm like, my guys were there. I didn't finish telling you about the team. I'll tell you, fuck me, I'm all over the place. So I'm like, dude, come on, we can do this. So I G'd my guys up and I stood up. And I'm like, on me. I start moving. But I stood up in front of this bloke who was on their side. He was one of their snipers. And he was about maybe 10 feet away from me, within the minimum engagement distance for a bolt action, firing at somebody past me. So he didn't even know that we were in this ditch.
Okay.
So I stood up as he fired, and the round hit me in the right hand. And I'm like, fuck! I'm like, that's me, I'm here. So my first ever hit in a game, and it was right in my hand. The game was over. We're going to the staging area for the next brief. And I'm like looking at my hand, and it was fucking throbbing. And I'm like, squeeze it. It was like right here. And it was bleeding like fuck. And there was this big lump. My mate's like, what are you doing? I'm like squeezing it. And then there was this and the fucking BB came out. I'm like, oh, did you see that? And I'm like,
oh my
I
God.
wish that I'd picked that BB up and kept it. But
no shit.
Yeah, dude, there's still like a tiny little white dot right there where that BB went in. So,
that's cool.
22 years ago, dude.
Well, the most special thing too is just the whole scenario and how you got it, but who you got it from too. Like this team that was the shit. Really good.
What's really funny as well is we played that site for years until it closed down, and we did not stop giving that team shit the whole time we played there. We knew we were nowhere near as good as them,
right?
But we rolled with a bunch of other teams, and together we could challenge them. Yeah. As we got better and better and bought better guns and stuff like that. And this one time we were giving them so much shit on the forums, and they set a trap for it. I've got photos of this somewhere. So there's this lad called Foxy. His call sign was Foxtrot Off, like fuck off, Foxtrot Off.
Nice.
So we just called him Foxy, and he was a big, gormless lad. Absolutely lovely guy, and he'd been giving him loads of crap, and I'd been giving him loads of crap. So midday break. The grip, like Zulu troop had broken up at this point, and 4 or 5 of them
Okay.
had gone off to a team called First Dan Motor Rifles, but the rest of them had stayed and become Team Aardvark.
Hmm.
They changed the name to Aardvark because A is as far away from Z as you can get, and they wanted to
Gotcha.
distance themselves. But there were still 20 odd guys,
Yeah.
massive team. They'd grown since then. New people had jumped into it. The core guys were still there, the regulars, still a really good bunch of guys. But
Right.
we're giving them shit, loads and loads of shit, and we didn't really have the balls to back it up, I guess. And they gripped Foxy and dragged him out into the shooting range. Well, they dragged him out towards the edge of the shooting range, but he didn't have his mask. And they're like, Magaz, I'm like, yo, like, go get Foxy's mask. Bring yours as well. I'm like, yeah, no factor. So I run off, grab Foxy's mask, run back, put in my mask on. Didn't realize it was a fucking trap. As soon as I handed them Foxy's mask, they put it on. They grip me. They link our arms and gaff tape our hands together.
Oh
So our
shit.
arms were like that, and then gaff tape our legs like a three-legged race together. And then all of our were coming out, loading up the magazines and getting ready. And
Oh
we just stood there and
shit.
they're like, I don't know why you're fucking standing there, boys. You better run. Like, what do you mean run? We take to goes, no, you better fucking run. Because
Oh
as soon as the marshals come out, because they needed marshals on site to make sure it was legit, I guess.
yeah.
As soon as one of the staff comes out here, we're opening fire. And we're like, fuck. So we're like hobbling, because I'm like really short and he's really tall. So it was like really like awkward as well. And we're like hobbling through the woods, through all these brambles and shit. And they just opened up on us and just ruined us. We're all of our backs, all of our asses. They were throwing grenades at us. And it
Oh
were
shit.
paintball site as well. So then the paintballers were walking past and the paintballers like, what are you doing? Like shooting these guys. And they're like, all right. And we're like,
Oh.
we got swatted. And then
Oh my god.
they came up, cut us out of it, said, right, you did well there, boys. You're all right by us. Brought us back in, gave us they paid for our food at dinner time, which was
Oh
all right. It was
shit.
a thing, but it was just one of those sort of beasting things, isn't it, where you fucked around so much that this is what you
Right.
get, but we're still mates afterwards. And
Oh man,
we
that's
learned a
cool.
valuable lesson from that.
Yeah, for sure. But man,
Yeah,
what a way to like a rite of passage. Like you felt,
yeah, dude.
you felt part of it, you know? Man,
Yeah,
that's cool as shit. I mean, you went through some punishment, but you learned some respect for sure.
definitely. Yeah,
But man, you feel this like camaraderie that is,
yeah,
common with military or sports teams or whatever, like a we love you, but we're gonna fuck you up right now, okay? And see if you
without a
can
doubt.
take
Yeah.
it.
And from that's kind of like how our team were as well. So we used to, as the team grew and more people came in, we used to. It's like when you join in a gang, like we'd kick them in, we'd bring them in. We'd say, right, you got to run across in front of the entire team, and we
Oh
light you the
shit.
fuck up. So
Yeah.
everybody who's on our team went through that and throwing frags at them and all sorts of shit. And yeah, it's one of the things that's like you said, a rite of passage. Like
Yeah,
we
man.
love
There's
you, but
there, yeah, that's it's still a common thing. Like especially in the UK, I've seen all these different people I've talked with from the UK, these girl airsofters and stuff, and I follow them all on Instagram. Well, I saw just like a couple months ago, it was somebody that I had talked to. I can't remember if it was Gem Airsoft or one of those, and it was their birthday, and on their birthday at that
yeah,
field,
dude,
and I guess it's a common thing.
the
They get
gauntlet.
shot by everybody on the that's there,
Yeah,
and
man.
she showed a picture of her back afterwards, and I was like, holy shit, dude. It's kind of cool though. Like I said, you get this like it's just, hey, you all know if you go to the it's your birthday and you're at the field, this is what happens.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
you,
we've done it in the past at some sites where the birthday player
yeah.
is out on their own, and it's an actual game.
Okay.
Everybody's got one life. Birthday player is just like a Terminator,
Oh,
unlimited lives.
nice.
If you get hit, you just take it and keep shooting, and
Right.
everybody's just got to come and hunt you down. I think that's a lot more fun than just running and getting shot because
Oh, that's
you get
cool.
to give it back a little bit.
Right.
We've done that a few times, and it always ends up with the attacking team just not taking hits and just kicking the shit out of you anyway. But
Right.
it's casual, sort of everybody knows what the deal is, sort of thing, and it's a
Right.
laugh. Yeah,
Oh, that's cool, dude. Okay, so you go from uh, getting into this, on this field with these badass Zulu guys, and then later on, you build up some teammates that,
Yeah.
just what random teammates, and then now after that, what?
Well, after that, we kind of our friend group, like just our natural friend group, grew
Yeah,
bigger.
right.
Part of that was when I lived next door to my aunt and this lad called Plumber. He walks past. He's just a local lad. And my cousin who lived next door, she fancied the fuck out of him. So we were like, "Oi, Plumber! Your cousin fancies you." Like you do when you're younger.
Of course.
So he comes over like bright red. I'm like, "Oh, you're in cadets, aren't you? Do you like guns?" It's like, "Yeah, dude. Yeah." I'm like, "Come with me." This guy we just met basically knew through like friends and shit. We just dragged him to the house and gave him a Marui MP5. Like, yeah, you can shoot that if you want. And then from then he brought his best mate down, and then we just grew. It was
Oh
like
shit.
I think that's like 20 odd years ago now, and we're still like best mates, all of us.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
so our team, the current iteration of the team, which is called CBMPC, which is the actual main team patch, is there.
Oh wow, look at that.
So that's a really old patch, as you can see, it's all knackered and
Right.
scratched. But
Oh, that's
it's
got history, man.
yeah, dude, it's based on the Ramones presidential seal. So, the Gabba Gabba Hey sort of classic Ramones logo.
Oh yeah, the Ramones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
for
it is. The
sure.
Ramones, best band ever.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but I obviously changed it to CBMPC in the middle. It's got an AK and then a rubber cock on the other side. So yeah, there's a site that we played at called Spot. We still play it. The company's called SWAT, and they've had about 6 or 7 sites over the years.
Okay.
During one safety brief, for some reason, they were talking about melee kills, and they said, "Got to watch out for CBMPC because they use their mum's dildos." Everybody immediately believed it. So that night, we all went online and we all bought rubber cocks, and
Oh shit.
that was our melee kill thing at SWAT sites. On their forums back then, they had a page on the front of the forums that said CBMPC dill kills, and they had all of our names with the number of kills we got on it.
Oh shit, that's funny,
So yeah,
dude.
so the team grew called CBMPC, which came from like nights out in like this bar in Blackburn, where we'd all just the group would get together and jump in the mosh pits and shit and
Yeah.
just get thrashed, and then we just bonded through all that and started playing airsoft together and play. At the peak, there were about 12 of us,
Mm-hmm.
and all of us mates. None of us. We didn't bring anybody in from other places. It was just our core group. So we all hung out at each other's houses. We got drunk together. Some of us worked together and shit, and
Yeah.
we were just all like really fucking close. And when we were on the field, you could see the difference between us and other teams because of that. Because other teams maybe they just knew each other off forums and they'd get together once a month at a site, but we
Oh
were
yeah.
actively hanging out every day, just
Yeah.
fucking about, shooting each other, learning new
Big
things, and
difference.
definitely. So
Mm-hmm.
we grew to be a force to be reckoned with at SWAT
Right.
sites, and everybody loved and hated playing against us because obviously we had rubber cocks, and that was like it was like a psychological weapon. A site called SWAT Area 51, which is an old steelworks. We were in the office part of the building, and there was this like frosted glass.
Yeah.
Enemy team were coming down this corridor parallel to us, and they're about to push on this door. I could see him like getting a frag grenade ready, about to breach this door. But I just get the real cock out of out the. I can hear my kids making loads of noise out there. Pull the rubber cock out, and I'm just banging it on the glass, like boom, 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 boom.
Oh
As
my
I'm banging it
God.
on the glass. My teammates come over and they're whipping their cocks out. They're banging theirs on the glass, and they're like, you can see them just kind of like backing away from the door, like, nah, this is not a good idea.
Oh
So
shit.
just because intimidation factor of the embarrassment of being tagged by a dildo.
Yeah.
But yeah, but back to
Cock slapped.
yeah, man. We had like pride in our cocks as well.
Of
Like
course.
people would ask to hold them. Like, oh, can I have it? And we wouldn't let it. It's like it's like I don't want to like
Yeah, you're not
compare
worthy. You're
ourselves,
not worthy
but
to touch my cock, okay?
yeah, dude. It's kind of like our ceremonial weapon.
Yeah.
So it's like a kukri for us, but
Oh, that's
um,
funny.
yeah, dude, it was it's good times. Going back to that Will It Launch series we did. There's a video which I'm going to turn to a short. It's the next short I'm going to put up on the channel. We were over at Des, who's one of our guys, at his house. We get his EGLN, you know, the grenade launcher for an FN Scar.
Yeah.
Pop a shell in there, pop Simon's rubber cock in there. Simon had the biggest, it was about this big, and it was exactly 40 millimeter in diameter.
Oh shit.
So we're like lubing it up, jamming it down the barrel of this 40 mic, and then Simon, because it was his, he stood at the end of this corridor and shot it in slow motion. He just poof, and it just kind of like keyholes through the air, slaps him on the chest. There's this big like cock print. I've got a 4-year-old screaming outside. Big cock print on his chest. Brilliant.
Oh my God.
Yeah, dude.
It actually launched out of the launcher.
Yeah, man.
That is crazy.
You'd be surprised what a launch out of them things, especially if you're using like a CO2 shell.
Right.
The first one we did, we actually disassembled a Moscow shell and just took what would be the grenade on a real 40 mic,
Yeah.
put that down the tube and fired it at Des. Like hit him in the gut and he was on the floor.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're fired.
Well, you know, when I played paintball, we would, you know, these guys, you know, guys I worked with in factories and stuff, and we were always kind of trying to add stuff to the field, whatever. This guy brought a what we called, I don't know if you guys ever had them, you know, back then, but a potato gun. We you know, it was just it was just a PVC pipe, you know, a tube.
Yeah, it is.
Like a 2-inch or whatever, 2.5-inch. And then you just cap the end, you know, put a fitting on the end for the air, and then and it's just an open tube. You stuff a potato in there, and you know, mash it kind of so it sits in there real tight. You know, it gets stuck in there basically, and then you just fill the end of the tube up with the air, and it eventually pow. You know.
Yeah, well, we used to make them slightly differently. We used to use metal tubes, and you cap one end, and you drill a hole in it.
Yeah.
And you spray like hairspray or aerosol or anything like flammable in there with the touch hole covered. Then you put the potato in. Then use like a lighter for an oven, you know, like the long ones. You put that in there, click it off, and it ignites and fires.
Oh, that's cool.
Fucking deadly. What we used to do as well. We spent a little bit of time running an airsoft site for a while.
Oh, okay.
And started off as a CQB. My voice nearly broke then. I don't know if you heard it squeak. Started off as a little CQB site. I could go on for an hour just about this site, but I'll just do the TLDR. We found out through a friend of a friend about some practical pistol ranges in Burnley, and we went up one day and found out that they hire out these practical ranges and you can come in and shoot. And we said the guys who were doing this came from the real like UK PSA practical shooting world. He was a UK champion shooter.
Okay.
But he transferred after the handgun ban over to airsoft. And well, I think he'd gone through like air cartridge handguns, which are massively illegal in the UK now as well. Then to airsoft. He's one of the best high capper builders in the UK now. He's called Mike, cool guy. But he set up these ranges, and we went over, and he had no idea that people shot each other with these guns. He thought it was just for this, and we explained this, and he's like, "Well, yeah, you can rent the ranges out and shoot each other if you're stupid enough to want to do that." So we did that a few times just for the team. And then we started like advertising it and running it like a proper site. And basically the people who come and play would pay for the range fees, and then we'd keep whatever else and then buy new props and new stuff for the site. And then we did that for a couple of years. And then they realized that you could make quite a bit of money from this.
Yeah.
And started looking for actual places to turn into a site. I mean, when I say sites in the US, you obviously say field, so it's just same thing.
Yeah.
But they found this woodland area and this rural, sort of like mixed woodland valleys and just open grasslands, and moved to that and ran that as school. The CQB ranges were called Elite Shooting Centre, and we called the site Elite CQB because it was tiny CQB, really close quarters.
Okay.
And then it turned into Elite Fire Zone, which was the big, massive site. We had a run-in with the armed police on there, which was hilarious. And that site ran for quite some time. We kind of overstayed our welcome. It was weird because we kind of were the touch paper that started that site.
Yeah.
And then it grew and grew and grew. And as we started going further afield, we found SWAT and we started playing with them because they were much better. They had much better sites, CQB sites, urban sites. We kind of only went to Elite every now and then. They kind of forgot about us. And when we went, we were just like acting as we'd normally act there, like we own the fucking place, because we own the fucking place. You know, we didn't own
Right.
it, but you know, we were like, so there'd be this like big beef between the new alphas at that site and us, and we just didn't feel welcome there anymore, so we stopped going. But they moved from there to a new site and changed name. They're now called All Arms Airsoft, and they've moved to another new site, and it's a whole different group of people who run it now. They're all, I know most of them, great group of guys, and that site now is literally 10 minutes up the road from me.
Oh,
And
okay.
ironically, I've never played there, but it's one of them ones where it's this. Where we are, I'm going off on massive sidetracks again here, but where we are, I'd say it is the capital for airsoft sites. There's the Northwest in particular has a massive, massive population of airsoft sites. Mainly, there's a lot of woodland sites, which are, I guess, easy just to throw up. Like some paintball sites just run alternate weekends airsoft events. But then there's big urban sites, massive urban sites, tiny little CQB sites. Within an hour drive of me, we've got like, look, hang on a minute. I've got a Google Earth thing on here with all the sites near me on it. Hang on, if we...
So I've heard of, well, you mentioned one earlier, Ambush?
Ambush,
Because
yeah. I think you're going to...
the
A lot of
podcast,
confusion.
yeah.
That site, Ambush, died back in 2006, 2007.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time that was running, there's a site in the southeast called Ambush, like Ambush Cobham, maybe,
Okay.
which we accidentally booked onto once, thinking we were booking onto the other site, and it was a whole thing. Because the Ambush were like, oh yeah, you can go on the website and book in now. We just search Ambush Airsoft and go on and go, oh cool, we can book in. And yeah, no, we booked into the wrong site. Not an issue, we just turned up and paid on the day anyway. And these guys, obviously, yeah. But right, so where I am in the Northwest right now, within like an hour or so of us, we've got the local sites, which are All Arms Airsoft and Hardline Airsoft, which are in Rishton and Burnley.
Okay.
Then Elite Fire Zone, Rip in Peace, that's gone now. Dagger Woods, which is...
Yep, heard of that one.
Dagger Woods, I used to work at, well, last season I marshaled at Dagger Woods.
Okay.
Absolutely really good. It's a pretty narrow, long woodland site. They spent last summer, they run it in season, so it only goes through the summer. Because in the winter it's unplayable. The wind just comes straight through it, and it's a nightmare. So they just cut it off for seasons. Through the shit season, they redid most of the site, and it's really nice now. There is an event on there today, where I was supposed to be going, but I forgot to book on. So I'm sending Andy, the boss, a message. I'm like, dude, I forgot to book on. Is there any chance there's a spot open? And he said, I'll give you a message if there is, but it don't look like it. There wasn't, so I missed it. There's another game there. The final game of this season is in 2 weeks, so I'm going to try and get to that.
Okay.
The Dagger Woods, good site. And there's Bravo 22, Bravo 22. Delta Team 3, Airsoft North. This is getting closer towards Wigan now. First and Only, which is a company that runs a bunch of sites. There's a lot of love-hate for First and Only. You either love them or hate them. It's very Marmite.
Right.
They've got a site called The Mill. And then the best site in the Northwest is in Atherton, called Level 2 Airsoft. If you ever come over to the UK and you want to play CQB, go to Level 2 Airsoft. It is without a doubt the best run site in the country.
Really?
And that is, like, they're the same people who run Dagger Woods.
Oh, okay.
I find out about him because he had an advert on an Instagram ad, a sponsored post.
Yeah.
And it was this amazing site where they had this like castle, like proper, looked like a really cool, kind of looked like the bunker on Endor.
Oh shit.
So I'm like, whoa, that was
Yeah.
amazing. And every time I've seen something like this, I'm like, oh, it's in fucking Poland. Oh, it's 6 hours away or whatever. But I clicked on it and it's like 35 minutes away. I'm like,
oh my God. Yeah.
So I had a look and they were doing an event that weekend. I'm like, dude, is there a spot? So he said, yeah, come along. So yeah, the whole site was formerly a paintball site. It's the second level of a mill building. Clever name, Level 2. And it's always evolving. It's not like a site that they just leave it as it is. They keep
Yeah.
changing it. The first time we were there, they had like an Afghan market, and then you go into a village. So there's like all these
Wow.
buildings. You go into a village, then you go through this big giant gate into this like annex area where this tunnel thing that you can go through into a cave. There's
Yeah.
a big, long, like a proper castle tunnel that goes into this open area where there's a giant bridge that goes over. You can go under the
Holy
bridge and
shit.
shit. Then there's the bunker area, which is the bit that looks like the Endor bunker, and that's got
Oh,
a kill
that's
house inside it. And then
yeah.
there's a prison at the back, and then you come around, but to the forest, which is all camo net in dark green. There's like ambient jungle sound effects playing and
Oh
mood
shit.
lighting and shit. But
What?
it was really long, narrow site, really small,
Yeah.
and they did that because they had so much more site. And for the first year of work of running it, they didn't want to open the second half because they didn't want to dilute what they could put into it.
Gotcha.
So they wanted to make this first part as good as they could and then do the second part.
Yeah.
So I think it was might have been the second birthday when they launched it. Yeah, it was the second birthday because they called it Level 2.0.
Gotcha.
And yeah, they had this whole birthday bash thing. We all turned up and they made Nuketown.
Oh
So
shit.
that second side is a life-size Nuketown with a
Oh
bus and
my
a
God.
UPS van and the houses. And then beyond that, there was a massive kill house maze. They got rid of the prison and turned it all into a giant kill house. Now they've changed it again.
Yeah.
They've changed the whole kill house again. I haven't been since they've done the latest change, I don't think. They've added, just after the lockdowns, they spent time when they could go back in
Yeah.
renovating it again. They took out the Afghan village and put another Call of Duty map in. I've never really played Call of Duty, so I'm not familiar with the map names, but it's the one where there's a
Yeah.
bunch of shipping containers and a crashed cargo plane.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's like a
I
life-size
forget what
cargo
it's called.
plane.
Right.
So that's in there now, and they've just updated it and changed it, added
Yeah.
new bunkers, new towers here. They always take like really good, like if you find a spot where you can just hold up and just murder people all day, and you say to them, "Did this spot here?" It locks down the entire thing, and it's unfair on the enemy team. Like I found a spot, really amazing spot, and I used it for a few games, and I'm like,
Yeah.
every time I use this spot, they can't get through that gate. And then because if I just turn 90 degrees this way, I've got eyes on the only other way thing as well.
Holy
If there's
shit.
two of us here like that,
Right.
they can't get through.
Oh
Even if they
wow.
throw grenades, because we're totally defilade from the grenades,
Yeah.
they couldn't get us. And we just two guys just holding the entire enemy team at bay.
Holy
So
shit.
I went and told Andy, I'm like, dude, look at this. This is the thing. And he went, right, cool. Next time I turned up, he's like, I've made the holes you asked for. I'm like, what do you mean the holes I asked for? Go and have a look at your little corner. I went and had a corner. Look, it just cut fucking holes in the walls and made a passageway through. So if you're in that point now,
Yeah.
you're just going to get shot from another hole. There's like another
Oh,
sneaky way through.
right.
Just as now, you could still hold that corner if you had somebody on security on this hole, but is it worth it?
I mean,
So
that's
yeah,
cool though that they, I mean, it's like those heat maps in video games, that they use
yeah,
to kind of fix the maps or open things up to,
work out where all the camping
where the
spots are and
choke
stuff. Yeah,
points. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's good that and that's what I found with a lot of people I've talked with that, have either worked at fields or sites or whatever, and, have seen the growth of a site where, most people that own the site or run the site are really open to,
involved
making it
from
better.
players. Yeah,
Yeah, they want to make it better. They're not, they're not just stuck in this. No, this is how it is. Whatever. They want to, they're all cool with adding stuff and making it more and doing different events or whatever. But that's cool that they made it,
yeah. Well,
open it up
there
and
was
make it better.
another site local. In fact, 1 minute, just let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
Holy
16,
shit.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. The armory's kind of cutting it over an hour, I think. 35, 36. There's like 38, close to 40 sites within an hour's
Oh
drive
my
of where I am.
God.
It's like the airsoft capital of the country.
Holy shit. Okay. Now
But,
what? Now where did you find this list? What? Do you
so
guys have
I
a,
was
a website that's?
No, I've just got Google Map. I opened Google Earth and I just
Oh,
went
right,
on
right.
different. I just went on Airsoft's Facebook pages, found
Yeah.
their address, and put it
And it
in.
shows.
So there is an Airsoft map, but I found that it's really outdated because there's sites like some of the old SWAT sites, like Kiln and
Okay.
Fortress, are still on there. And they're long gone now.
Okay.
So basically, I made this at the beginning of this year because this year I was going to be like, right, we're going to visit as many of these sites as we can over the year.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't happened. We just always end up going to the same sites because you find
Yeah.
some sites that you like
Sure.
Swat Park Gate, really good woodland site. Dagger Woods, really good woodland site. Outpost Airsoft. It's kind of like, I say that's kind of like, you know that site Dutch the Hooligan always plays at?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it's kind of like that, but
Okay.
it's a bunch of mixed different fields. It's really cool. And that's within an hour. And then level 2, we're always going there.
Yeah.
We just kind of bounce between them. But there's a bunch of other sites that we want to hit up. Like Foundry, really good CQB sites, absolutely tiny. If you get like 5 aside in there, you're having a great day.
Okay.
What's it called? Kill House in Leeds. That's maybe about an hour and 10 away, something like that. That's they've moved. They've rebuilt their site during lockdown. They put in another floor above their kill house, so it was like 2 floors now.
Oh, shit.
And then I think the lease ended on that building or something, and they had to move. So they basically just rebuilt it in another building. But I haven't been there since, and that was supposed to be on the hit list. There's a place just opened up recently in Manchester called Chemical Airsoft in an old chemistry lab.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
like all sciencey and stuff. Names, I don't know if you've heard of Names Nico.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nice guy. Again, he's a kind of a Marmite player. I've seen him getting a lot of hate recently on the online communities for
Yeah, for what?
just
Because I joined his Instagram live the other day.
yeah, I did. He's definitely a guy you should get on here because he's an absolute fucking character. I've met him a few times and talked to him. He
Okay.
helped me out. He sat down with me one day and spent a lot of time just helping me out with my channel
Really?
without asking for anything in return. Just like, look, this is what you
Yeah,
should
he's a
do,
cool
and this is
dude.
how you
Yeah.
should do it. And the stuff
Right.
that he's told me really worked and really helped. So
Okay.
absolutely a cool geezer, which I think you'd appreciate me calling him a geezer. But yeah, I found Chemical Airsoft because he put up a video where he and I think it was Stay Fresh Chew both went and they made this kind of video skit at the beginning of
Okay.
the gameplay where they had to go in and collect this uh, like a vial of something from the chemistry labs, and
Yeah.
they made like this. It was kind of like what Hidden Hedgehog does. Have you seen Hidden Hedgehog, the paintball sniper?
No.
Right, I know it's paintball, but
Yeah, yeah.
you have to go and look at his content because it
Okay.
is like the cutting edge of what airsoft content should be. So
No shit. Well, I'm
he
trying to
make
think because that when you said that name, Hidden Hedgehog, I'm thinking it
what's she
sounds
called?
really familiar. It sounds really familiar. I don't
FPS
know.
Magda, formerly Polish airsoft girl.
Yeah.
It's her partner. So she plays airsoft, he
That's
plays
where I know
paintball.
because I
So
follow
yeah,
her on Instagram. No
yeah,
shit.
dude. But he's
Right.
cool as fuck guy
Okay.
and runs those really expensive first strike rounds. And he's just basically a sniper. But what he does is he goes out and plays, and then in the edit, he makes a story from the game. Like he
Oh
usually
yeah.
has like another player on the enemy team who is like, I had to hunt out, I had to counter snipe this enemy sniper who was holding down our guys. But then he goes back into the site and films cinematic B-roll. So you get like a shot of him, like a third person shot, really cinematic, moving into this position, getting into
What?
the position, getting his rifle ready. And then it cuts to the gameplay footage and you see the shot and then he just cuts it all together like a little mini film that
Oh shit.
intermittently cuts into first person gameplay. And it
Okay.
is beautifully done. And I mean, I follow a few paintball channels on YouTube because the content is really good, and he
Yeah.
is probably the best. And he does
No
play
shit.
airsoft as well. Like he's been down to National Airsoft Festival a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
So
I'm an old school paintballer, so I still
yeah, it
like,
is.
I follow a shit ton of YouTube channels and Instagram pages for
Yeah.
paintball, and I
Yeah.
still like watching it. So,
I spent a lot of time working in paintball. Like when
yeah.
I was fresh out of uni, there was a paintball site near me that needed staff.
Okay.
So I worked there for a few seasons until I sold it,
Yeah.
and it's loads of fun. I know a lot of people in airsoft that just rip the piss out of paintball or just dislike it just for
Yeah.
the sake of disliking it. But
Right.
for all intents and purposes, it's the same game. It's
Right.
just different tools.
Yeah.
Because
Same exact game. Yeah.
people have exactly the same amount of fun playing this as playing that,
Right.
and they come away high fiving each other, playing soggy biscuit in a
Absolutely.
car park later. You know, the usual stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I used to
Yeah.
enjoy playing that
Yeah.
because
I've actually invited a couple people on that are paintballers, straight up, just no airsoft,
yeah,
just paintballers. I would like to, have them on and talk about it too, because that's a game that's changed quite a bit over the years as well,
yeah,
with
massively.
the fields, and of course, obviously, most people know, more people in the general public know about paintball and have never heard of airsoft,
Yeah,
because years ago with ESPN3, like, it was televised, so, and I think it still is, but
there was what was that show called? I'm just going to Google something here.
yeah,
Paintball TV show. I think it was like the early 2000s.
really.
Right, there was this show. I was thinking about X Fire. Oh my god, dude! Google X Dash Fire TV show
Oh, I gotta check it out.
and paintball, and look at the fucking paintball guns they used. It was ridiculous. So basically, it was like they were doing this kind of like Starship Troopers sort of aesthetic of these. It was like a game show. So people would just apply to go on this, and they'd be given these paintball markers that were made to look like a space weapon,
Yeah.
and they had to go against these guys, kind of like gladiators, like American gladiators. And they had like characters in the show who they had to fight against. I think they were all supposed to be cyborgs,
Yeah.
and it was so. I remember I'd get home from school, and I'd sit down in front of the TV, watch, and I'm like, this is amazing. This is the best. And they had like a pretend machine gun sort of thing that they'd mount on a. It was really janky head cameras as well, like old school tethered head cameras.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun. But it's only the second best paintball thing that ever happened on UK television. The first being that episode of Barker Grove.
I
Anybody in the UK who's of that age knows exactly what I'm talking about there.
okay.
So
What is this, a show that you guys grew up with?
Barker Grove. It's a show set in Newcastle. So it's Geordie's, like where Lucifer and Poison Wonder are from.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's set around this kind of, I think it was like a youth club sort of thing called the Grove in a place
Yeah.
called Biker. And there was an eclectic group of characters. The guy who ran the place with like mutton chops and a crazy mustache looked like an absolute fucking pedo. And there was one episode that either gave you nightmares or the lols,
Oh shit.
where they all went paintballing. And they were playing paintball. And I watched it recently because I was making a video about the rules of airsoft, and I wanted to do never take your iPro off in a game, so I used a clip from the show. That
Gotcha.
video's taking a while to finish, but it's going to go up eventually.
Okay.
Anyway, PJ and Duncan, who were without a doubt the main characters of the show, they've gone on to have a massive successful career. They went on to be pop singers back in the 90s, early
shit.
2000s. PJ and
Okay.
Duncan. Yeah, man, Psych, all that sort of stuff. They went on to become a national treasure, TV presenters, and the real names are Ant and Dec.
Gotcha.
And any big thing on TV, they're fucking presenting it. And nobody knows which one's Ant and nobody knows which one's Dec. No matter how many times you are told, nobody knows. It's the law. So they were like the staple characters in this show. And this one episode, they were playing paintball, and this guy was about to get shot in the back. And PJ, who may be Ant and or Dec, shouted to his mate, but he ripped his mask off to shout louder. And he's like, whatever your name is, look out! And then these two girls turn around and just shrek him right in both eyes. And you see these, if you look at the video on YouTube, the girl who played the girl in the show has uploaded it, saying that she got paid £10 to come and shoot PJ in the face. But they were just shooting against this plastic thing in front of the camera.
Oh,
But anyway,
okay.
so they like shoot him, and you see like the looking towards them as they shoot towards the camera, and then like whip pan, and you've got PJ stood there with his greeny yellow paint just dripping down his eyes, going, "Ah!" And that was the horrific thing. I remember going into school a couple of days after that, going, "Oh my god, did you see Barker Grove? PJ got shot in the eyes." Anyway, we're blind for the rest of the show after that. So his character then was just permanently guided around by his mate, and it was like an absolute game changer. And that's kind of like a point where I kind of went off the show at that point, got into other stuff. But yeah, I remember
that for you guys, that was like the most popular like show that showed paintball or something like that.
Yeah, dude. There were other stuff where it like appeared in TV shows. Like another popular one, Spaced. It's a classic, season 1, episode 4. I think it's called War. Spaced is Edgar Wright, who did Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz.
Oh yes,
all those films. Well,
yeah.
He did a series in, I want to say like maybe 99 to 2000 something, called Spaced, and it's got Simon Pegg in it and Nick Frost.
Gotcha.
The premise of the show is Simon Pegg, who plays Tim, breaks up with his girlfriend and has to find a new place to live. Daisy, who's this girl, played by the girl who plays Tim's equivalent in Shaun of the Dead when they go down that alley and they meet each other.
Okay.
Anyway, her Jessica Stevenson, or Jessica Hines, she's called now. She plays Daisy. Right, yeah. So Daisy's in the same thing. She's living in this kind of squat with all these guys. It's not really a proper place to live, and she wants to find somewhere new. Neither of them can really afford anywhere, and they're both looking through this newspaper in a greasy spoon diner in the middle of London. And they both end up sat at the same table because there's nowhere else to sit. And Tim's like, "Oh, can I have a look at that after you've used it? Because I'm looking for a place to live too." And they end up meeting there every day, and they find the one house, the one flat they can move to says professional couple only. So they pretend to be a couple to get this flat. Gotcha. And it's you can see all Edgar Wright's early sort of like whip pan and crash cut sort of editing style and all the amazing sound effects and stuff he uses in all his later films kind of being birthed in this show. And it's really good.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing I remember about Shaun of the Dead, because it's been a long time since I've seen it, the scene where Simon Pegg's throwing the old vinyl records, at the.
Oh, it's an original pressing. Yeah, dude. Sade. That's Lizzie. She did dump you.
But you know what's the show that when I was a teenager, we were in high school, me and my buddies, I don't know how we found this show. Okay. I mean, there's no internet. This is fucking 1987. All right. And, yeah. So we're in my buddy's basement. We're watching, and we go down there this is where we get drunk together and stuff before, like in the morning before we go to high school. Okay. And, so we're watching, this, I guess it was a British show or English show or something. It was, called The Young Ones.
Oh my God, dude.
No one's ever fucking heard of it.
Young Ones.
You've heard of it.
Grew up on this show, man.
We loved it. It was our favorite show. And nobody here in America, we talked to people at school and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, man, The Young Ones, it's fucking awesome. Like I still remember some episodes.
My wife's going to be driven mad later because the outro credits music for that is just like ska sort of trumpet and sax sort of thing. And it gets stuck in my head that I'm walking about the house like
humming it.
So she's going to get driven mad by that later. But The Young Ones, classic. It's Rick Mail and Ade Edmondson, and I can't remember the other two guys. Alessia Sales in there as well. It's like the punk equivalent of like
right.
Monty Python's Flying Circus. It's like those guys are like a crew who made other TV shows together and made amazing comedy stuff through like the 80s into the 90s. The other one that's amazing, like it's a similar kind of thing to The Young Ones, where it's like based around a house with people living in it, is Bottom. Where it's Rick and what's he called? What's Ed Edmondson's character called in The Young Ones? It's got the punk dude. He's got a
I can't remember.
I can't remember his name. That's gonna ruin me now. I'm gonna have to give it a Google.
Right, look it up.
I want to remember it before I get to it, though. I
Well,
want to
see,
get.
we were the kind of rebels in high school. Like we didn't as far as like we were like into punk music. We were in the Sex Pistols, like fuck the system,
Yeah, dude.
fuck the government kind of shit. And so we were a small group. It was just three or four of us. So yeah,
It's called Vivian.
Vivian, yes, I do
Yeah.
remember.
Well, Rick and Vivian are in another show called Bottom, and they play Richard Richards. I think it's called Richard Richards, and then Eddie Hitler. And it's really funny. There's bits where it's like Edward Hitler. Any relation? Yes. What? Anyway, so it's kind of like a sitcom where they live in this really nasty tiny tiny house,
Yeah,
and it's just standard British 90s comedy. Really coarse, really vulgar.
yeah.
Lots of dirty, nasty, gnarly jokes. But the rest of the cast from the young ones make guest appearances as like Dave Hedgehog and
Oh
stuff. And
shit. Okay.
so much for if you're a fan of the young ones, definitely go and check out Bottom. I think it went on for like maybe 3 or 4 seasons and several actual live shows that they did on stage,
Yeah.
and it's
No
so
shit.
funny. But
Yeah,
those two are shows that I used to. I've got mad tinnitus from working in a bar, and before me and my wife got married and moved in together and got a house and shit, I always had to have ambient noise to go to sleep. Otherwise, it'd just be like,
yeah.
I'm like, the fuck is this? So I always have a TV show on just low level so I can get
Right.
sleep. And Young Ones, Bottom, Red Dwarf, just any 80s to 90s British sitcom,
Okay.
it'd be what I'd fall asleep to. So I always like it's kind of ingrained subconsciously in my brain
Oh,
now, I
sure.
guess. But yeah,
Well, we would
Red
go to
Dwarf,
school. We would go to school, and our joke, like our inside jokes and stuff, we would always make
yeah,
comments to each other, like just in the hallways or around other people, and we would try to do this, British accent or whatever, and it failed horribly, of course, but it was for us it was fun, like it was
yeah,
funny,
dude.
we and nobody else knew, which was kind of cool that nobody else had heard of this show, and we're talking about it, and we're like, saying the one-liners from some of these shows, or from that show, from some of the episodes, and yeah, it was a good time. That was kind of my I guess Benny Hill, and then
Yeah,
Monty Python, and then for us the young ones, and Benny Hill and Monty Python, a lot of people have heard of course, but when we talk about the young ones, they're like, what? Like nobody heard of it. Yeah.
let's set this thing off. Yeah, it's absolute classic staple piece of British culture.
Well, you said you worked in a bar or ran a bar. How did you get? Was that as you're obviously when you're an adult, you're still playing airsoft and that kind of thing? And how
Yeah,
did you get
I've
into?
got a really funny airsoft story about that bar.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you a bit of backstory on the bar if you want. So the place was called the Attic, and a friend of my parents, we used to live across the road from this young couple. He was much older than me, obviously the same age as my folks. He ran the bar. The idea was it was an indie bar, so indie music, but it was a live music venue. It's called the Attic. Again, like level 2, clever name. It's in the attic
I
of a
got it.
building,
Yeah.
and it was just like a long, thin bar, and a big stage at one end, and it kind of like the CBGBs of Accrington.
Mm.
And yeah, just bands on every weekend. Really nice, cool place to hang out. It was second stop on our drinking tour every weekend. We go to the Adelphi,
Gotcha.
which is a starter bar. Then we go to the Attic, and then we go to Cellar Bar, which is a spiritual home of CBNPC, and may or may not be what CB and CBNPC can stand for. The team name CBNPC, it's an
Yeah.
ongoing joke that we never actually tell anybody what it stands for.
Oh, okay.
Somebody asked me once, and I just quoted the IT Crowd, which is another classic British sitcom.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Oh,
remember Evan
IT.
Badley? You are?
The what is it? The
Yeah,
IT.
the IT Crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude, I love that show. Yes.
yeah, the IT Crowd.
God,
It's
what's
kind
the
of
guy's name that with his hair like it's always on one side and he's
it's called Moss in that, but it's called Rich
yes.
Ayoade. I
Yeah.
think it's how
Yeah.
you say
Yeah.
it. Yeah, they're parallel to the Mighty Boosh, which is another classic TV
Okay.
show from the UK. If you like the kind of IT Crowd, and Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, and that sort of what we do in
Yeah.
the shadows sort of weirdness.
Okay.
Mighty Boosh is a good one to check out. I met those guys, the entire cast of them,
No
and
shit. Okay.
Noel Fielding, who is massively famous now for the Great British Bake Off. Um, I've got long hair again now, but I had massively long hair then as well. I was like
Oh, okay.
skinny jeans, like 21 years old, whatever I were. Skinny jeans, tight t-shirt, long hair. It was dark in this car park after doing a live show, and I'm like, "All right, mate," and got him to sign my Mighty Boosh DVD, and then he kissed me, and I'm like, "Did you just think you were kissing in the mirror like you usually do or something there? Because we've got the same hair." And so it was really funny because I've mentioned that to loads of people before, and they're like, "Oh, you've kissed Noel Fielding?" I'm like, "Not
Oh shit.
passionately. He was just a peck." But yeah, now digressing massively there with more British TV. But back to the bar. Fuck, I forgot where I were now.
Yeah, we're talking
Yeah,
about the attic. Well,
yeah. So it was like,
you were yeah.
so basically it was we go from Adelphi to Attic to Cellar Bar,
Yeah.
the name of the team. Yes, then the Attic, for years I'd just go in there as that's my bar where I go on a weekend. And knew the
I
guy who
think
owned
I
it.
think weren't you just about to tell me the what the initials stood for your team?
No, I wasn't going to tell you, but
Oh, I thought you were about to tell me.
I was making a joke about it.
Big reveal.
Not a big reveal. Somebody asked me when I did a Q&A on my channel, and
Yeah.
I quoted Jen from the IT crowd. I can't remember the exact quote now, but she's applying for a job at another place as the head of IT.
Yeah.
And the woman who's interviewing her said, I know it's a stupid question, but I've always wanted to ask it, but what do the letters IT actually stand for? And she's like, fuck. She's like, you can see where she's like, I don't
She
actually
didn't know.
And she's like, oh, what doesn't it stand for? It stands for, and there's this whole thing. And she's like, no, the letters IT. And she's like, I need to wee. And she just runs off. So I did that. I did the whole skit. And
I
just,
remember that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was all fed up with working where she's at, and she's like, "I'm gonna
Yeah.
get this other job, whatever." And that was funny, dude. Jen,
Yeah.
her boss is always like, "Jen."
Oh, dude,
Okay.
another thing. And the one thing that I can remember that's in my phone as well that I'll never forget from the IT crowd is when they changed the number from 999 to 0118999811997. Oh, fuck, I forgot it. Ruined it. Ruined my joke. I can only do it if I sing it as 0118999881999119725. So if you need to ring an ambulance and you can't remember the number, you can give me a shout and I'll help you.
Oh man, thank you.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the bar. I basically my best mate, who's got my name tattooed on his wrist. That's
Oh shit.
love for you right there.
Yeah, it is.
I've no idea why he did that. He just turned up one day. He got terror tattooed on that wrist because
I
he's got a
mean,
terror wrist.
That's what you do when you're drunk, okay?
I don't think he was drunk. And then he's got my name and a star.
Oh shit.
So yeah, I think he did that because I've got a star just here as well.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, and some Clash lyrics. But
Okay. Oh, the Clash, bro.
Clash, dude, yeah.
Dude, I mean, yeah, we could talk for hours on all this kind of stuff because that's, I grew up with that was what I was into, the punk stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was the manager at the bar for a long time. Oh, basically, it was like a coming of age thing when we were like all like 19 to 22 that you had to work at the Attic for a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So most of the kids, the young like indie kids in the scene, had worked in the bar, on the bar, or just glass collected or whatever in there. And then it went to like peak because they did the whole place up, they gutted it and redid it, and it absolutely peaked as the nightlife capital of the area. It was amazing.
Nice.
It was packed to capacity every night, and they were rammed, and they needed somebody to work the bar.
Yeah.
So my mate Smith is like, he just rang me up one day. He's like, "Do you reckon? Have you ever worked on a bar before?" I'm like, "Nope." He's like, "Do you reckon you can do?" I'm like, "Of course." And I just turned up and started working there, and I was there all the way through uni, all the way through college, all the way through uni for like 7 years. Even when I graduated uni and I was working as a photographer, like initially when I first got out of uni, I worked teaching photography,
Oh,
which
okay.
was absolutely direction change. It was amazing. But I was still doing weekends at the bar and then trying to run a business as well. It ended up being way too much, and I had to quit the bar. But
Gotcha.
in the end, Smithy left to pursue his career choice, and everybody left. The guy who owned the place sold the bar, so the landlord who owned the building didn't want the building to sit empty. So he hired me as the manager of the bar to run it as the whole business. So
Oh,
for a
shit.
few years, I was like in charge of the whole thing,
Right.
and it's way too much to take on at the time. Same time as teaching a bunch of 14-year-olds photography and trying to run a business and that. But it was a really amazing part of my life.
Well, did you have to when you became that position? Like, was the bar still running at this point, or
Yeah.
did you have to go in and like find a new person to like be there and run it? And
No, so basically, we had bar staff, we had a DJ, door staff, everything you needed to run it. But I had to turn up, open up, go and
oh
sort out stock, just do all the managing of the thing. So I was
oh
just there to make
shit,
sure it
right?
ran. So I was like in
Yeah.
charge of little staff and stuff. And I got to do one of my dream things while I was there. Really quiet night on the bar. And there was a point in Aki history where all the feeder bars that people used to go to before us closed down. So people were going out of town, and then by the time we were open, there were nobody to come. So it like
Mm.
gradually died off. And so I was on the bar, 4 or 5 people in, super quiet. We'd only just opened. This guy comes in, orders a drink or whatever, give it to him. He wasn't happy, and he starts talking to me about it. And I say, look, dude, there's nothing I can do about that. This is your issue, whatever, whatever. Because can I speak to the manager? And I said, yeah, sure thing. So I backed off. The bar was set up so that you walk into the bar and you walk into the door and turn right. It's just running along the entire, well, half the length of the bar.
Right.
And there's like a little kitchen area that you can't quite see from outside. So I
Yeah.
walk into the kitchen area, put on my jacket, zip it up, put on a hat, walk out and go, "Hi, I'm the manager. How can I help you?" And he's like, "You're just the same guy in a hat." Like, no, I'm the manager. Just deadpan, straight face, looking at him. He's like, "What?" And it's fucked him up completely because he was about to like go, "That lad you've got working here is a dickhead. You should fire him."
Yeah.
But he was like, "The fuck is this place about? I don't." And he drank up and left anyway. So it was good
Oh
laugh.
my
But we
god.
used to do shit like that all the time. Like
Yeah.
there was a dude who just kept standing on the bar every night, and he drove me mad. So I'd get the soda hose and just jet spray him down, and he'd have to
Oh
leave to
shit.
like he pissed himself. And I could
Oh.
I could do a whole podcast on the stupid stuff, the disgusting things. I could tell you the whole history and lineage of what we called the fingering couch.
Oh shit.
I'm not going into that right now. That's horrendous.
Well, listen. Speaking of that, I'll tell you what. We should definitely do another podcast where you go over some of the stuff that you're talking about, and especially with that bar. Do you have pictures like
I've got
inside or
this. Do you
around
remember
that
when?
place?
Do you remember earlier when I talked about the stacks of DVDs, and
Oh
then there
yeah,
was a bar that I did photography
yeah.
for, and I've got that's them. I've
Oh
got
dude, because
I've got thousands and thousands of pictures.
we can do on the Discord call. You can share the screen, right?
Yeah, I could have
And
shared the map, the thingy map of all the.
yeah, you can share the screen. We could talk about those those stories, whatever, and then have these pictures pulled up.
Yeah, dude,
That'd be fun, man. That would be fun.
definitely.
Okay,
So,
so you manage this bar for a while,
so
and
before I was managing it, when
yeah,
Smithy was still managing it, one of my friends, Jimmy D, who, if you've listened to the later episodes of my podcast, is the co-host on there.
okay,
Who's kind of got AWOL at the minute, is busy with his own life. I
yeah.
have no idea where the fuck he is right now.
Oh shit,
He wanted, this is back in what was still at SWAT Sighting Camp, which, in
okay,
my opinion, is the best urban site that's ever existed in the UK, aside from Dragon Valley, Boys Village,
yeah.
rip in peace.
Oh shit.
But pour one out. Yeah, so he wanted to come play airsoft. He'd never played airsoft before.
Yeah,
I'd never been shot. And I said, look, dude, we're going on Sunday. On Saturday night, I'm closing up the bar. So what I'll do, if you want to come on Saturday, but you wanted to be shot first to make sure you wanted to know about it.
Right.
You wanted to know if he was up for a bunch of guys just lighting him up.
Yep.
So I'm like, I'll bring some pistols down. I'll bring enough eye protection for everybody. We'll close the bar. We'll turn all the lights on, the smoke machine and shit, and we'll have some pistol games in the bar. So it's like
shit.
3:30 in the morning. We've closed up. We've mopped up and shit. The floor's slippy as fuck. It's a horrendous idea. All the lights are on, all the lasers, smoke machine. For this, you need to know the layout of the bar. But it's kind of, like I said, it's a long thing. You come up some stairs, like 3 or 4 flights of stairs, and then you're at the entrance. As you walk in, the bar's on the right. Seating area's all down the left. The VIP raised seating area was there. The stage at this time was off to the right, and then there was a door on the left, parallel to the stage, where the fingering couch was. If you go down some steps, that takes you to the staff area and the toilets. Right near the entrance to the actual bar proper is an exit onto the smoking area. So we came up with this idea. We get a brush and shovel, like a sweeping dustpan and brush thing. That was the objective. That's in the middle of the bar. First person to get it and get it to the other person's starting point wins.
Yeah.
Smithy's in the smoking area. I'm on the stairs. Jimmy D is by the toilets. So we've all got our own little starting areas. Now we're our respawn points. I had my friend's Western Arms Infinity practical pistol, 6-inch, fully tuned, high kappa build, basically.
Oh, nice.
And way too hot to be using for this kind of thing. But he wanted shooting, and I thought, why not? Why introduce him with something lightweight when you can just murder him? Standard stuff. So I've got this high kappa. They weren't called high kappas back then. It was Infinity.
Okay.
So I've got that. I think Jimmy D had like a Glock 26, Glock 27, tiny little thing, and Smithy had another random Glock. Smithy's only ever played once before as well. But he knew what to do. He put some goggles on, then he took his hoodie off, put it over, tied it into like a bandana. So he's like this, he's protected. I've got my full face pro on. Jimmy D has just got paintball, like a paintball mask, but without the face plate on.
Oh, yeah, without the bottom, yeah.
So we're all explaining to it. Jimmy D's shot a few rounds off, he knows what he's doing. I'm like, right, we'll shout 3, 2, 1, game on, and then we'll push on this brush and shovel.
Right.
So I go 3, 2, 1, game on, and then I've got my pistol up. Let's get my high capper up. So I'm like aiming at Jimmy D where he's going to pop himself out from. And then he just does one of these and just his head comes out.
Yeah.
So I fire a single shot and it just sails in perfectly, hits his front tooth, and his front tooth just disappears.
Oh, God.
And he's like, I'm like, what? And he was whistling like that pedo block on Family Guy. Like, when he's talking, it was hilarious. Like, just shot my tooth.
Yeah.
Because we've been shooting, like we've done some target shooting in there before.
You
And
want a popsicle?
Yeah. Hey, boss. there's BBs everywhere already.
Oh, my God.
And Smithy's pissing himself laughing. He's got this laugh he does that's just like level 11. And he's laughing because he's like, Jimmy D's lost his tooth. This is fucking hilarious. And he runs over and he's like, he's like, is this BB? Is he picking up BB, taking the piss? And Jimmy's like, no, it's gone. It is dissolved. I've swallowed it. There's no tooth left. I'm like, fuck. So he's still due to come airsoft in 4 hours. We're going at like 7 in the morning.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like, what do you want to do? You can come another week if you want. Or what? And he goes, no, I'm still coming. So fucking props to him. He still came the next day and played a full day of urban airsoft.
Yeah.
With the best site in the country. And then went and got his tooth fixed the next week. It was going to cost him so much for dental work. So he went to this place where they have student dentists. And he got a student dentist to fix it.
Right.
Didn't have to pay.
Oh, that's because they're practicing. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So
that's cool.
We've got 3 of those stories shooting people's teeth out. One of them a backyard game where Des had a stereo TMP and he grabs Plumber. We used to play in Des's back garden as well. This is after we'd grown out of my back garden. Des's back garden was massive. There were dog poo landmines. If you stood in a dog shit, you were out. That counts as a hit. And yeah, it was massive. So we were just using pistols, AGs. Des had his TMP, and he grabbed Plummer. We were wearing an LA assault vest. Grabbed him through the back of the vest, put his TMP underneath Plummer's arm like this. Human shield! Human shield! And he's just dragging him about, and Plummer couldn't do anything because Des is a much bigger guy, and he's got his arm through him, and he's just like with his TMP.
Oh my god, that's crazy!
And Shorty, I think this is one of his first games as well. He just leans out and just cops a mouthful of rounds from this TMP and takes his front tooth out. And it was the same thing. We were all laughing our ass off, picking up BBs. Like, is this your tooth? Is this your tooth? Ah. But Karma at Elite Fire Zone, Plummer had Desi's, I think it was Desi's MP5. Oh, it might have been his MP5K at that point. We swapped guns between the two, bought and sold to each other. So this gun had been like I owned it for a little bit as well. So
for sure.
Yeah, so it was a Tokyo Marui MP5K, and it was doing 185 feet per second. It was terrible. But it worked, and it's still, the BBs using Tokyo Marui fairy dust magic just floated out there. So slow, but they got there.
Right.
We were on Hamburger Hill. I've got another good story about that place, which is this tiny little hill with a box on top of it that like maybe two people could fit in.
Yeah.
Des was over on the plateau. There's like a big valley with a stream in it, and also it's like 35, 40 meters away.
Okay.
And Des is like, "Yeah, you bastard." Yeah. That's a swear word in the UK for American references. That means fuck you.
This is?
Yeah, that means fuck you.
Really?
I always love it when Americans, peace, my friend, peace. I'm like,
yeah, I was just going to say we do that, yeah.
I'm walking down a street in Manhattan, and you know them like rap artists who want to sell you a CD in Times Square. And like, hey, yo, check this shit out. This is my gangster rap right here, brother. I'm like, dude, I listen to the fucking Ramones and that. I'm not really into. I like the Wu-Tang Clan, they're all right, but I don't want your CD. And he's like, oh, check it out. You're on MTV, hidden camera right up there. What are you going to say? And I'm like, to the camera, there's no cameras. He's like, yeah, peace. I'm like, this doesn't mean peace where I'm from, my guy.
Oh my god! Yeah, I'm so glad you told me, dude, because I swear, like, I might have done that.
So
I might have done that with Kicking Mustang. I don't even know, because lately, sometimes I'll just wave like, "Hey, see you," whatever, have a good night. But and then lately I'm like, "Hey, peace," whatever. Oh my god!
Yeah, no, dude, like British people understand that it's only British people who that works for.
Right.
From what I know, it comes from when we were murdering French people back in the days when longbows were cool as fuck. And British archers would use these two fingers to obviously finger blast.
Right.
And allegedly, when the French would capture British longbowmen, they'd just cut those two fingers off.
Oh, right.
So then they're fucked. They can't do the job, can they?
Yep.
So when the British would capture the French, they'd be like, you cunt.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
Fuck you. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to start doing that around here. I'm going to make it a trend around here. Hell yeah. Fuck you, bitch.
That'd be really confusing. It's like a ambivalent sort of thing. Like,
yeah.
Fuck you, but peace.
Yeah, peace. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but the karma happened with this MP5K because Plummer was just firing pot shots off at Des 40 meters away while Des is like, yeah, you're not going to whack. Tooth straight out.
Oh,
185 feet per second or whatever it was, floating out to him. So it must have been doing like a foot per second as it hit him. And his tooth just went.
Maybe it had a backwind or what,
Yeah, dude. Classic British backwind.
Oh shit, that's crazy though. Because I've seen all these videos where people get BB stuck in their cheek or their chin, and of course the tooth getting knocked out. It is, but I didn't think it was that common, and you have, it's not that common.
It isn't that common.
And now, and your group, you've got what, three
of us, yeah.
Holy shit!
So when I used to marshal, when we used to run the CQB site, we used to play full auto indoors, CQB. The maximum engagement distance was about 35, 40 feet.
Wow!
It was absolutely tiny, and we're playing full auto. I was marshalling just wearing shooting glasses. And I would get the shit shot. I've got a picture of me somewhere with like my lips fat here, my lips fat here. I've got like welts up here. And I'm like, I don't know how I didn't lose any teeth back then. It's ridiculous. My teeth are
Well,
bad enough as
you
it
didn't
is. I
want
don't
to.
need getting shot.
I mean, you just like pain.
Well, I mean, I liked just being able to wear shooting glasses and not have to I can't see properly. But yeah, now, since then, I've worn face protection since, like, of some kind. I don't think I've got my mask with me down. I think it's in a loft.
Well, a lot of guys here, they'll do when they go to these mill sims or something like that, where they're, they if they don't want to wear the full face thing, they'll wear the goggles and then they wear a mouth guard. Like in
Yeah,
football, they'll wear that.
yeah, yeah. Even now, I'm not too keen for peeing on being shot in the face anymore.
No
It's one of
shit,
them
right?
things, isn't it? But I mean, like, if you got your rifle up, you've got some protection.
Yeah.
But like, if you don't, it's just not worth it. I mean, I know, like, the GMR guys, they're pro no face protection. Same like the Task Force Neptune guys, like Paynex and Tiny. They're definitely like a big no go for lower face protection.
Oh,
They
okay.
kind of they've got a really interesting mindset where they're all into jiu-jitsu, and they kind of take it as a training tool. So it's like it's training for if you ever need to use your real world firearm
Right.
in a situation where you got to defend yourself.
Yeah.
You're using this. It's training. So if you're doing it in real life, you're not going to have a fucking paintball mask and go around the
Hmm.
corner. And
Yeah.
they're talking about respecting your training partner. So if, like, I've talked with them about this in the past, where, like, when I'm wearing a full face pro, I don't give a fuck about going in that room.
Yeah.
The worst that can happen is maybe get shot at the tip of my fingers, or I take one to the mummy daddy button, whatever. But I'm in that, my face, my teeth are fine.
Yeah.
I'm going in that room, no factor. I'm like, my head's protected, so I'm not getting shot up there. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
good. And sometimes you don't think before you're running. You're just like, fuck it, it's not going to hurt. But if you've got something
Right.
to say, actually, no, this might be a
Changes
bad
your
idea. I
mindset.
don't want
You're
those
not as
dental
you're not as
bills.
cavalier when you're
Exactly.
more exposed. Right.
So it makes
Exactly.
you
So it's
think,
more real life.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
there's some games where maybe that is a good idea, but
Yeah.
like at level 2 and other really close CQB sites, it's kind of speed QB. They have a speed soft thing set up there as well,
Yeah.
and it's even just in the CQB thing. It is, if you don't move fast, you're dead.
Yeah.
So you've got to just be entering rooms, kicking in doors, throwing in frags, and just moving and moving and moving. So you're
Right.
gonna get one in the face at some point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
face pro, it's got to be.
For
But I mean,
sure.
in woodland sites, maybe just a balaclava would work. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I brought this thing, MP5 in the way.
Well, do
I
you
brought
have are you guys have you heard of Lone Star Tactical?
the Face Pro
Yeah.
thing. I think there's a company in the UK that does something. Is that like a balaclava that goes to about there and it's got mesh just here?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a couple of companies in the UK that do something really similar.
Okay. Because
So
somebody I talked with, it might have been one of the girls months ago, either Alex Hillary or Lucifer or somebody told me about them, and they,
called.
I've been following their channel or their Instagram since, but so it's kind of a cool idea, cool alternative, and I guess they recently came out, like within the last few months, came out with the style that covers your nose as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking for. I think it's called Delta Mike or Alpha Mike, Delta Mike.
Hmm.
That sounds more like it. Yeah, Delta Mike Face Pro. It's this company that makes it in the UK. There are a
Oh,
couple of
okay.
others as well, where they do it in all kinds of different colours. Where it's a big bit of mesh that kind of goes up to here,
Right.
and then you got a really breathable balaclava or a
Right.
sort of thing. That I bought one of them.
Okay.
So I use a JT Elite Radar paintball mask that I've cut down to all the shit that covers your ears and
Yeah.
super low profile now. So it's just what I
Oh,
need.
okay. Right.
Oh, it doesn't look cool, does it? Like when you trying to get shots for Instagram as well mid game, trying to look operated
Yeah.
as fuck. Paintball mask just throws the whole thing off. So I got some. I'm pretty sure most of the stuff's still in the loft. Some really cool new goggles. I can't remember
Hmm.
the name now. But I wanted some lower face pro. I've tried all sorts. I've tried the one Tigris
Hmm.
T Forge, I
Yep.
think it was called, face
Okay.
pro. But I've had my nose broken 4 times and it is knackered right here.
Yeah.
And that Face Pro just digs into it. So after 10 minutes, I'm like, I gotta take this shit off.
Yeah,
And
mine's
it's
the
the
same.
same.
I've
Yeah,
had mine broken as well. Yeah, it's an issue.
yeah, it is. So
Uh-huh.
I've tried so many different Face Pros to actually be able to work with that. I should.
Yeah.
Another big thing I hate is that I just didn't go to the hospital and get that fixed because it wouldn't be an issue now. I'd be able to wear some really cool looking Face Pro. But I found this thing through MB Ghost Mask,
Yeah.
MB Tactical. I found it through Airsoft Camman. It was another really cool
Oh, okay.
UK content creator. So it's a really cool sort of like neck, what they call it, like a face mask sort of thing. So that's the front.
Gotcha.
So it's high rise at the back, so it kind of goes quite
Right.
high. But then
Uh-huh.
the actual protective part is upstairs in my kit bag, but it has a separate mesh thing. So you can wear this just as it is.
Okay.
And then the mesh covers all of it up above the bridge of your nose. Down
Mm.
here, the same sort of places where a paintball mask would cover. But
Right.
you can make it form fit into your face.
Oh,
And
that's
you can just
cool.
drop it in to that.
Right.
So I've been testing that out. I haven't fielded it yet, but I've been wearing it about the house, looking
Okay.
cool.
Have you done a
Yeah,
video on your YouTube channel on that stuff yet?
not yet. I'm going to put together a video of all the different face protection
Okay.
ideas that I've tried because I've got the
'Cause I
one
saw
Tiger.
the one with the pants.
Yeah, dude, that's an ongoing series that I'm doing called the Pants Party.
Oh,
Because when I worked in photography, I've worked in fashion for years
okay.
and a bit of a fashionista. So I've been basically if there's something cool in airsoft, like cool bit of gear, I'm like, oh yeah, that's looking alley as fuck. I need to wear that. So I'll
Yeah,
buy some
right.
pants, and I'm like, yeah, these are really cool. These are really cool, but they're also really cool. Look at that pattern over there, Desert Night Grid. Got to get. In fact, talking about Desert Night Grid, look at this stuff. Just digressing again, bit of fabric. You know, Desert Night Camo or Desert Night Grid.
Oh, wow.
So this is tan dominant Desert Night Grid. So
What
rather than it
is
being
that?
green,
Is that a big flag?
fabric.
You would.
It's
Oh,
just
okay.
big.
Just a big sheet of fabric.
Yeah, because I do a lot of my own gear making.
So you'll
So I
cut
make
that out and make
yeah,
something?
like this
Or,
plate carrier.
yeah.
I made that from scratch.
What?
So it came from years ago.
Dude.
My mum taught me how to sew, and I
Okay.
was like, "This is cool as fuck. Sewing is cool." And I've been making like little pouches and shit for stuff that I've needed over the years.
Holy
Uh,
shit.
but then the pattern that this is, you see it better just there, is British Peacock Hybrid DPM. I'm a big
Okay.
DPM fan. Um, this was the intermediate pattern, a trial pattern when they were getting rid of what we call Queen's Blade, but we maybe should call King's Blade now. God rest the Queen.
Oh, shit.
And, so when they were getting rid of DPM and going
Yeah.
for the MTP, which is the multi-train pattern, which is if DPM and multicam had a dirty night out, and you know that's what happened. They were doing a whole bunch of trials, which are called Peacock, PECOC, personal equipment, and then yeah.
I don't
So
know either, so.
yeah, well, not hundreds of patterns. There's a whole heap of different transitional patterns where they went
Okay.
from looking pretty much like DPM to looking more like MTP and stuff like that in different colorways. And the same with this helmet cover on here. I made that in Peacock. So
Okay.
this hybrid DPM is the one that I like the best. It's kind of like
Hmm.
it's like desert DPM, but with browns and greens and more color tones in it. It's a really nice aesthetic pattern.
Yeah.
So I wanted a plate carrier in it, and you can get gear in it from the trials, from the CS95 whatever trials, but it's the old school British vest, and it is dog shit. It is the
Oh.
worst. So, and they're really massively expensive, and a lot of them are damaged and just in like
Oh, okay.
large sizes.
Yeah.
And being a fucking hobbit myself, um, like it just doesn't work. So
Yeah.
yeah, with this. I had a Viper Buckle Up VX plate carrier, which is kind of like a copy of the Spiritus LV, with that plate carrier. So basically, I just dismantled everything from the Viper plate carrier, just turned it inside out, drew a a plan for it and then
Yeah.
put it together. So it's modular. I've used this Cumberbund Viper. The hardware on it's from Viper, so it's compatible with my other Viper plate carrier.
Yeah.
So yes, I've made like 5 of these now.
Oh my God.
Just in different patterns. Like there's a camo pattern that's getting a resurgence at the minute that I've been single-handed. Well, I thought I was single-handedly trying to make it cool as fuck. But
Yeah.
Americana Pipe Dream, they got hold of a big bunch of surplus store in the US.
Okay.
They got hold of a big bunch of it, started like pushing it, and everybody started memeing on it. And then administrative results admin,
Yeah.
he's a big YouTuber. He
Yep.
voiced them in a
Seen his
video.
channel. Okay.
Yeah, dude. So I've been a big fan of this camo pattern for ages. I've got a shirt in it, mint condition. It's a fucking beautiful shirt. But yeah, so I made this plate carrier in Omani Orange DPM.
Oh shit. Wow.
Absolute meme camo.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, dude. But
Have you now? Do you make some of these and sell them online?
I don't because I'm not really comfortable with the level of quality of these for the price that I
Okay.
have to sell them for. Because this, basically, I'm going off. Every one that I've made is slightly different because I'm still kind of fine tuning the design. Like the peacock one, it is
Yeah.
basically the shape is an exact copy of the Viper, what it curves in at the top.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not happy with the fit. The neck area is really small because of that.
Oh.
So with this
Okay.
one, I just made it straight. So
Yeah.
this area is much easier to get your head
Uh-huh.
in and out of. But I've found some other issues that I'm not happy with on this plate carrier that on the next one, which is going to be in Desert Night Grid,
Oh,
Pan
that's
Dominant
cool, dude.
camo.
Have you seen
Yeah, but
those ones called mini maps?
yeah, dude.
Because
That one.
somebody I never heard of them. I never heard of them, and somebody I talked with,
That's
yeah,
the
he's
Roman
a
Kermas
fanatic about them.
Desert Tiger minimap.
Yeah, the
But
guy I talked with, Suck My Cry is
yeah, dude.
his Instagram. Okay.
Yeah, the original minimaps
Yeah.
were modified by Ronnie from GMR, Green Mountain Rangers.
Okay.
They used to use the standard map packs, like the modular assault packs, but
Yeah.
they're just too big. They're really big on your back and really
Uh-huh.
clunky. So he actually has a video on his channel showing how to modify a map into a mini map. So you
Okay.
basically just cut it, fold it, and then stitch it back together.
Yeah.
And you remove like maybe 6 inches of stuff
Uh-huh.
off the bottom and make the mini map.
Yeah.
But then he made an actual product called the mini map and then improved upon it a couple of times and has made basically it's like a super Gucci fashion item that
Right.
they make it and then people pay $300 for it.
Right. And then well, not only that, when they put out a very very limited
Yeah,
supply of them for that particular
like hype drops.
camo or
Yeah.
something or whatever, that style.
So
So
when they released the, one of my favorite camo patterns is Desert Tiger,
Mm.
and they did a drop with Desert Tiger, and I'm like, oh, dude, $300 though, plus postage and then tax coming into the
Uh-huh.
UK. They'd be like a $400 bag. I cannot warrant that. So there's a guy in Ukraine called Roman Kermas, and he has a group on Facebook called Replica Lindner. That word I can't say it. That tactic. Basically, he makes
Okay.
replica cries, and they
Oh.
call forbidden cries. You can get them in any color you want.
Yeah.
So I've got a pair in Flectine, like 5.5 tones Rook Flectine,
Yeah.
and he does all sorts of colors. I want to get him to make some in Oman DPM, but given where he is in the world right now, current situation means
Right.
he isn't open for business. But as well as like cry and all sorts of weird stuff, he makes mini maps.
Oh
So
shit.
I asked him if he had any canvas or Cordura Desert Tiger fabric, and he said yeah, and he made that for me, which was 90. So
Oh
much
shit.
less.
Okay.
And it's basically an exact copy of the Gen 2 GMR minimap.
Yeah.
And this is my like everyday bag that I take around with me,
Okay.
which it's got this TRC outdoor extra little bit of cool gear in there in Desert Night
Yeah.
Grid. This is a Ciozo shirt from TRC Outdoors,
Okay.
British veteran owned company. The Ciozo
Nice.
shirt apparently was a shirt that Paras used to make in the Second World War out of the parachutes.
Oh.
So they were made out of parachute silk. It's just a super lightweight, windproof
Yep.
thing you can throw over.
Yeah.
and he makes them in Desert Night Grid. So I bought one.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah,
It
never
stays
heard
in
of that.
there as like a if it's raining or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool, man. Okay.
yeah. Airsoft, it's just a fashion show, isn't it, dude? It's
Oh, it
all about
is. And
fashion.
well, there's so many different. This is what's interesting to me, and this is why I'm really excited about meeting all these different
I'm
people
being shouted off
on
by
the
a 4-year-old.
podcast.
So just
That's
hold
what
for one
happens.
minute.
Oh yeah, we're good, man. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we could. You've got a very interesting story, a very
I
interesting
own
background,
concept.
and yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you've got a very interesting story. A lot of cool stuff in your background, and obviously, I like hearing about it. And there's some similar, the young ones like,
Yeah, dude.
the Ramones. I mean, I just there's a lot of things we could talk for a while more because I still have some questions,
Yeah.
but most of the time when I have people on, we'll talk for a good hour, hour and a half, and I still have questions for them, but I don't, I'm not trying to get everything all in one. That's not what you do in real life. If you and I met in person, and we got on
Just
this
sit down,
subject
have a
and we
chat,
were just
and
like, we're
yeah,
drinking or somewhere, yeah, and we're just standing. You're not going to stand there for 4 hours, ask every single question. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just not how it happens in real life, and that's how I treat these. Is hey, we'll just talk about what we talk about, and then I usually end up having people on again. You know,
yeah, dude,
or you have your own podcast. I would
yeah, dude.
come on yours.
I've I've seen in your list. I've got in Apple Podcasts like about 20 of your episodes backed up to listen through.
Yeah,
Pardon me, and I see a few of them are the same person that's come back. So I'll
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, man. Well,
Definitely.
I was gonna
There's
say,
always an open invite to you if you want to come on the Balls Deep
absolutely.
podcast.
For sure. Yeah. So before we get off here, so your YouTube channel name is the one you sent me
Magaz,
today.
YouTube.com/Magaz, Magaz. It's like magazine but without the E.
Oh, okay. Is that your name?
Yeah, dude. It's
Oh,
been my
Magaz.
nickname. It's been my nickname since primary school. Well, not primary school, since early secondary school.
Okay.
So I don't know what grade that would be equivalent to in the US, but
Yeah.
maybe like 12,
Young.
13 years old.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
on the
then
side of my
how
just
did you
throwing
come
shit
up with
around.
the balls deep? Because I love the play on words with it, with the air is soft,
Oh
the
yeah,
balls are deep,
yeah.
balls are hard or something.
The air may be soft, but our balls are hard. That came
Yeah.
from I was talking with a paintballer, and he was taking a piss out of airsoft, and I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah. Well, the air is soft. I'm like, yeah. The air might be soft, but our balls are hard. I didn't say it as like cool as I say it in the end of the
No.
show or anything, but just
You
that.
like literally, they're
Yeah,
hard
the
compared to
balls are hard.
paintballs.
Yeah,
Exactly. Oh, that's funny, dude. Okay. Well, where can
yeah, man.
yeah, let's wrap it up. Where can everybody find you online?
Yeah, you can find me if you search Magaz and Airsoft. You'll either get a bunch of Airsoft mid cap magazines for sale on Amazon or something, or you'll find my YouTube and Instagram. YouTube is just youtube.com/Magaz. Because I was lucky to jump on Instagram in 2006, and you could just get a username straight after your thing. Then you didn't have to have a fanny about to get your username at the end. Um, Instagram, it is Magaz Actual. I wanted Magaz on there, but some fucker stole Magaz before I
Damn
could get
it.
it.
Fuck
So
those dudes.
yeah, dude. So I'm Magaz Actual, like the play on the radio chatter thing in it.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
And then your
they're
podcast.
the podcast is called Balls Deep, but
Right.
you can find it on anywhere you get podcasts. There's a
Yeah.
YouTube channel as well. You just search Be Deep Pod. We sort of chose a slightly censored version for the URL and for everything for the handles,
Oh,
so
gotcha.
it might draw more people in rather than because it's one of them names, isn't it? Where like balls deep, is that a bunch of lads talking about So
Pornos and
and
shit.
don't get mixed up. There is a podcast. There is another podcast called Balls Deep, and it's about football, like British football.
I
So don't
saw
listen to
that
that
because I
boring
searched
shit.
it when I
Yeah,
met you. I searched it and I was like, "What is this podcast? That's not the right one."
yeah. Search Balls Deep and Airsoft in any of the like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever.
Yeah.
It'll come up. And we've only got about 36 episodes, and we make you wait about 6 months between episodes just to build up that hype and anticipation.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep. We started in like 2015, and back in 2015, it started me and Des were down at the studio photographing some stuff, photographing some of his guns. And I had the Zoom down there. I'm like, dude, have you ever wanted to do a podcast? And he's like, yeah. And we just sat with the Zoom like handheld in front of us. In fact, it was on the table for the first one, and we're like,
oh shit,
banging the table. So every now and then,
right.
The first few are really bad audio. I addressed this with my introduction to them in the beginning. Like, look, sorry about the shit audio. It gets better as it goes along, unless it's in the car and then it gets shit. But yeah, so it just kind of grew from there from 2015. We had a core group where we used to do them all the time, and then people moved away, people got jobs, people got kids, and we just don't have the time to. So we like to do them in person if we can.
Gotcha.
When I had the main studio, we'd sit down there, proper podcast mics. We'd live stream it as well, and yeah, people used to tune into the live streams because they used to like me. Because I haven't drank in like 12 years now, and I'm the sober one of my friends. So my friends, the co-hosts, would be getting absolutely hammered next to me. I'm trying to herd these cats and keep them on topic. And the one that always comes back to me, we had an ASG Scorpion Evo.
Yeah.
And I'm sponsored by ICS.
Oh, okay.
And
right. I saw some of your videos. Yeah.
ICS are partly distributed in the UK through ASG. So I was working closely with ASG back then. And we're doing this live stream, and we're going to be talking about this event we're going to, and this tour that we're doing with ASG called the No Photos Tour, where we take the ICS stand and everything around to all these different sites and big events. And we're doing a live stream. We did a recorded version of the podcast that went up in the stream, and then we did a live stream for everybody to join in, because they always just get a bit shit show. But Des was my co-host on this, and he was drinking, what's that fucking fake rum called? Captain Morgan's. He was drinking Morgan Spice.
How dare
out
you?
The bottle.
That's real rum.
Yeah, anyway. So he was drinking that out of the bottle, and the recorded podcast, he was fine, but by the time we got to the live stream, there was like this much left in the bottle, and he was drunk. And he's going on about how he prefers... He made this good discussion in the actual recorded podcast about how he prefers an MP5 over the Scorpion Evo based on this, and this. Scorpion Evo, he shot it. Really fucking good gun. But he wouldn't have it. He'd rather have a classic, the MP5.
Right.
And anyway, that came out on the live stream, which ASG were in the chat watching, because we were talking about the thing. It's fucking Scorpion Evo's a pile of shite. Have you felt? Look at this. Fucking thing. Look at that. Who the fuck made this shite? And I'm like, I'm sat there like, fucking hell. And we have another guy who was monitoring the comments and like talking for us in the comments, and he's DMing Paul from ASG like, I'm really sorry. He wasn't talking like this earlier. He was being very happy and very nice about the Evo. When he fired it, he loved it. He's just very drunk right now. So I had to do like look, dude, Des is really fucking drunk. The Evo is a really solid platform. If you take a look at this, it comes out of the box with a MOSFET inside it, electronics. So I had to basically sell to fix things a little bit. But
right.
I like the Evo.
Good.
Yep.
We'll make sure we'll put that in there.
Yeah, the Evo is pretty cool. I do prefer my MP5 though. I keep shutting that off.
Yeah, right.
My CQ Beast. But yeah, Evo's good. MP5 better.
Well, listen, man, it's been great talking with you. I'm really glad we got to meet.
Yeah, dude, it's been rad, as they say in the 80s.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely do another one.
Yeah, without a doubt. We'll actually maybe try and talk airsoft a little more. I didn't go on that side story about telling you how my YouTube channel started. TLDR is I was using another service called Zippy Videos, dog shit, for uploading skateboard videos.
Oh shit!
It's a long story about this old skate community online where we used to play games of skate over the internet, and we had to record videos of us setting the trick and then put it online. And Zippy Videos just wasn't cutting the mustard, so YouTube came out and everybody just switched over to that. So my first videos on YouTube were all skateboard related. They're still up there, but
Okay.
unlisted. But
Gotcha.
yeah. So that's YouTube.
Interesting.
But there's more to it than that. It's like a big, deeper story that goes on. But
Yeah.
I'm still fairly confident that I have the oldest and very first airsoft video on YouTube.
I saw it. I
Yeah,
scrolled down. Yeah, anyone that has a YouTube channel, I go down. I want to
down
see
to the bottom.
when did they start. I want to see their first couple videos. They're interesting. So I saw this one. It was filmed in like this square
Yeah, dude, that's
orientation,
the DV camera that's like as big as a brick. Yeah,
and
yeah, dude. That's
it
the
was
Elite, the site we used to run. So
yeah,
yeah,
okay.
August 2006.
God, that's crazy.
Because
Yeah,
I think what's it called? Brain Exploder put a post up saying, "Is this the oldest airsoft video?" And it was like 3 months, like October 2006, and I'm like, got you beat, dude.
oh shit, that
So
is so cool.
I've been trying to search to find an older airsoft video, but
Yeah,
there's no way to, if you search like old airsoft video, first airsoft video, it doesn't come up.
yeah,
You can't, if you filter it by date, it just shows you like the past 6 months.
yep.
You can't get to the oldest stuff, which is a
I
real shame
wonder.
because
Yeah, there's got to be a way to do. You ever see those websites that have like some kind
the
of
Wayback Machine.
time? Right, the
Yeah,
Wayback Machine, exactly. Yeah,
you
there's got
can,
to
you
be
can look
some
at
way to do that.
you can look at the Team Matrix old website on there.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
my old
shit.
team.
Okay.
Matrix. It was matrixairsoft.atem.com. You
Oh
can look in
god.
there. It is really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Hey, we all have those, man. That's funny.
Yeah, man. I'll
Well, I
find your picture
appreciate you,
from that
man.
later.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
no
It's
worries.
been it's been awesome, man. Yeah, we'll definitely do it again.
Definitely do. We'll after the show we'll work out some dates or something through DMs or whatever, and get you on our show. Maybe I'll get our
Yeah.
co-hosts back in, and I'll try and keep them reined in, less drunk.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, dude,
Hell
should be good
yeah.
to sit down and actually like hear your story properly because I've heard bits of it pieced together from like the
Yeah.
several episodes I've listened to, and yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. Hell yeah. Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. Everybody listening, go check out his channel and his podcast, Balls Deep, and and the YouTube and the Instagram. I'll have all these links in description too. So
thanks, Cameron.
thanks again,
So
man. I
what I'm going
appreciate
to
it.
do after this, I'm going to go leave a review for your show on Apple. I was going to do it the other day because you can do it in
Oh
app.
yeah,
Everybody listening, remember you can leave a 5-star review. You can just go down an Apple Podcast, hit that 5-star. You don't even have
yep,
to leave a review. That's a rating. That helps. So yeah,
exactly.
I was gonna leave an actual review, but I thought I should wait. This was after we'd said like I'll jump on the show.
Yeah,
I'm like I should wait till after I've jumped on the show so I can leave a bit more of an in-depth review. So
yeah.
I'll
Oh
sort that
yeah.
out
You don't
later.
have to write
Whatever.
one. Yeah, just the stars or whatever. It's
Yeah,
you know how it is with trying to get the audio part that when you just do on those podcast platforms. They're just there's only a handful of podcasts out there. So no,
yeah,
I'm just kidding. It's like everyone has a podcast, so it's like
fucking yeah,
fucking.
dude.
You got to get some interaction on it to.
I mean, the airsoft market for podcasts is relatively
Yeah,
small. There's a
yeah, it
few out
is.
there that are really big, like Task Force Neptune's podcast, which has just come back. They released a new episode the other
Oh,
day
okay,
after like a 2-year hiatus or something.
nice.
Green Mountain Rangers is another really good podcast from
Okay,
GMR. The early ones are really good. Lots of after-action reports from like massive, like Milsim West games and stuff like
awesome.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
The later ones, as they go into like the COVID lockdown, I think they all go a little bit insane. Massive conspiracy theories about COVID and shit like that, and it kind of
yeah.
changes direction. But another serious airsoft podcast, which is now called All Seriousness Aside, because they've gone not just airsoft, it's like movie making, photography, all sorts of other stuff.
Oh shit.
Really cool,
Okay.
cool bunch of guys. Shit, what's the other one? It's another one that I listen to, but it's gone. Gone, dude. Look through my phone. Let's have a look.
Yeah,
Oh
because
my god,
these
my
are.
phone's on 1% battery. How'd that happen? It's not.
Look at
It's
you.
all on messages.
Look at you.
It's all the videos off my wife. Dude, I am. So many podcasts in here.
Yeah. I, I
One that's not airsoft related, but you should definitely listen to Jocko podcast. It's
the jock
Jocko.
off.
Jocko.
Yeah.
Jocko Willink.
Oh, Jocko. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
follow
dude.
him. Yep. I listen to his.
Yeah, dude. Good
Yeah,
show.
I
Some
do.
really, really moving stuff in there.
Yeah, Jocko. And then oh, Jack Carr. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's
Oh,
a
sure.
retired Navy SEAL. Wrote some books. One of them they made a show out of called Terminal List.
Dude, yeah, yeah. I watched that recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show. It's all right.
So he's got a podcast. It's really interesting, and I've followed some in the past that were like about beer and alcohol and whiskey and
Yeah.
all kind of shit like that. Yeah, I listen to all kind of stuff.
I can't find the other podcast that I usually listen to. They must have got rid of it.
There's been a couple that people have told me about while I've been talking with them on here, and there was but it was like one of them was really hard to find. I think it was called One Shot, One Kill, or one something like that. And then the other one was 6 millimeter something.
If we go through the list that's on Apple Podcasts right now,
Yeah.
Kicking Mustang Airsoft.
Yep.
Which he had a podcast for a little bit. Chairsofter Show, which is relatively local to me. It's a British show.
Okay.
Did I go on that? I didn't go on that. I went on Floperator podcast, which was I don't think that's even up on podcasts anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could probably still find that somewhere. Novrich, everybody knows Novi Boy.
Yeah.
Got a high five from him in Germany. That was cool.
Oh, nice.
Call Your Hits by Storm Riders. November Foxtrot. Airsoft Radio by Airsoft Nation. Airsoft Nation, that's the one I went on. I've been on that. Good show.
Okay.
Airsoft Nation was a social media that he was trying to get off the ground. It's like an airsoft-based social media.
Oh, okay.
Airsoft Kings, that's a pretty good one. It's been dead for a long time now, but there's some good content on there. Guerrilla Airsoft Radio, I don't think I've listened to that one. Safe Zone, that's Gioraga Airsoft. He's another British airsofter. Powerhouse, the show. I think that might just be one that's got an episode about airsoft. Airsoft Milsim Tactical. Femme Fatale, Spitfire Airsoft. Airsoft
Oh shit!
Medicine.
I didn't know she started one. Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's from years ago. I don't think she's updated it in
Okay.
last episode, 2018.
Gotcha.
Nearly as bad as mine. There's a bunch further down that are mainly the Airsoft Report from Random Guy Kev. There's this one here with a weird T for the. Don't know who that is.
I don't know what that is. Man, don't even click on that thing.
Yeah, there's quite a few as you get further down.
Okay.
Manada Airsoft de Oro. That sounds like some Spanish-speaking ones. Gringa Airsoft. Airsoft Hit El Prograt. These are definitely not English.
Yeah.
Gape. The Airsoft Reddit group. Yeah, no, the Airsoft Reddit guy. Papo the Airsoft. The Newbie Journey by Chris Berry. I think he's a British airsofter. Pod No Airsoft by Darlin Silver. Definitely sounds Spanish. Tokyo Operators. War Dog. The podcast. Oh, the Airsoft podcast. At least the podcast. This has turned into just listing off every Airsoft podcast that exists. Airsoft Outcast. Airsoft Rants. The Airsoft Field Manual. Fabian Airsoft. Special Activities Group. Airsoft Podcast. Original name there.
Right.
Midwest Podcast. What the Fudge. I checked on that one. That's just a podcast that just has one episode about Airsoft, and I don't listen to it. There's T-Rex Talk by T-Rex Arms, but I can't promote those guys because he's a bit of a shit cunt.
Well, he was on he was on a podcast with Novrich.
What, the dude from T-Rex Arms?
Lucas T-Rex, yeah.
Oh, dude, I'll make sure not to listen to that one.
It's good, bro.
No, I mean, I appreciate what he talks about using airsoft as a training tool and all that sort of stuff, but I just can't get along with that guy's worldviews and the guy as a person based on them. I'm not into cancel culture either, for the record, so I'm not saying don't listen to this guy. If you enjoy,
right,
or anybody listening enjoys his content, get up to your nuts and that content's guts, but the guy is just not for me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm glad
I don't
different
know.
sides of the world.
I don't know much about him, to be honest. Yeah, I saw the Novrich podcast with him, and then I follow his Instagram like a long time ago, and I see that's the extent of what I know. Like I don't whatever he talked about on that podcast, and then I'll see the short shooting clips, moving from cover to cover kind of thing. But
Yeah,
other than that, I don't know.
it did a good video with that dude from Japan who
Oh,
came over
right.
to the
I did
US.
see
I
that.
can't remember his name now. I follow
I
him
can't
on
either.
Instagram.
Right.
Yeah, that was really cool, showing the transition from airsoft to
Yes.
real firearms, which
Right.
like I've kind of shown in videos as well, where I
Okay.
went to Hungary to put a belt through a PKM in a tiny little range, which was
Oh,
fucking
nice.
awesome. Yeah,
Hell
dude.
yeah.
There's a short on my channel where I'm just squeeze the trigger on a PKM and don't let go until it stops.
Yeah. Oh, I'll check it out.
Yeah, yeah, dude. We've completely sidetracked here. We were supposed to be doing the outro of the show, but as I'm sure you can see, I
That's
just
how these
talk
go,
and don't
man.
stop. Yeah, man.
That's how it go. Well, this is what happens when you have somebody like me that runs a podcast that doesn't know how to run a podcast. So,
But no, it's the same, exactly the same with me. Like, because you, I'm doing it right now. You start stopping, but then you stop stopping because you've
exactly.
started talking about something else, and
Oh,
then before
listen,
you know
there's
it, you're
so
five
many.
hours into it.
Yeah, when I go to post these, I'm always like, oh, I've done it again. Okay, I said, hey, it was great meeting you. Where can people find you online? And then when I'm always thinking if
Then
somebody's
the
watching or
podcast
listening to this,
starts.
they look at it like, oh, I want to see the next, if it's going to go to the next one or whatever, and 15 more minutes. What? Like,
No, dude, I did exactly the same thing.
it's horrible.
I had a podcast queued up after an episode of yours that always has a shit ton of adverts at the beginning of it. And I always know, when I know it's coming on the thing, I always just like wait for it to come up and then skip 4 times and then put it back in my
Yeah.
pocket. So I heard you saying, right, cool, it's the end of the show now, sort of thing. I'm like, all right, let's get 22 minutes. Let's just put that back in there. So
I'm
that's what this is
saying,
going
bro.
to be like. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, man? Is this guy doing this on purpose, like just to trick us? What is he doing? So yeah, it's whatever how the conversation goes, and I'm not really good at ending it, I guess. So we're gonna end it
Yeah.
right now. Okay, we're
Yeah,
gonna be
we can do
proper. We're
we
gonna be
can do what
proper
the
about this.
Corridor Crew podcast. The Corridor Digital guys, they've got a podcast called Corridor Cast. And the
Yeah.
Corridor Croutons, who listen to that, are the Croutons. And anybody who listens to Corridor Crew knows what I'm talking about. But when they end the podcast, when one of the guys called Ren is on it, they end the podcast, they always sing a little song. Like one of them's got a ukulele or a guitar or some shit, and it
Yeah.
makes up a little song on the spot about the show. But he always go, we're in the podcast in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just as he gets to the end of the countdown, Ren screams as loud as he can. But he always cut it just as he goes, and just as that scream's about to, I'm glad I didn't actually have to do the scream then because I didn't ruin my throat. But just as that scream's about to start, the podcast goes dead silent.
Oh, how about this? Why don't
Cool.
you end this podcast by singing the phone number to IT Crowd, and we'll cut out.
Okay, guys, if you've fallen down the stairs and you need an ambulance and you're in an emergency situation, don't forget 999 or 911 doesn't work anymore. You've got to ring 0118999 88199 9119 7253.